Some noise, people, make some noise, people! Yes. How y'all doing this evening?
Chilling.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
Don't be subdued, man. We in Harlem, y'all. How y'all doing this evening? Y'all good? Ladies and gentlemen, I just really want to say, first and foremost, thank y'all for coming out to 275 West 144th Street in Harlem, New York. What you're witnessing is the second season of the Next Conversation series. It's something that was birthed last year, or maybe even the year before, when I first interviewed Issa Lee. She was the first ever, she's the OG, she's the first ever guest of the Conversation series. And once we did that, we realized that it was an opportunity to have more people speak with me, artist to artist, about the things that we go through, especially as artists who are believers, are in the faith, are in ministry, part of fellowships, and Christ-centered, you know, biblically outspoken, unashamed, any tag you want to tag to it as far as like what Christian creators are. And we've had some really fascinating conversations up to this point. We've spoken to everybody from Selah the Corner to Ajani Hambrick to Angie Rose to even going to the King of Choice Awards and having quick conversations with Loso and C. King and my man Richard Dolphin, who's trying to get everything situated on the side. In fact, y'all can make some noise for Richard Dolphin. He just was running a basketball game, now he's trying to make sure our set is straight. But with that being said, I've had a lot of great conversations. And the idea of these conversations was really not only just to hear about the artist's new project and just, you know, what they've been doing in the studio, but really kind of like get the methodology of why they make music or why they're in ministry and the things that go along with doing ministry, especially now in 2018, where there's so much things coming at you. And I believe it's important because sometimes as an artist we get interviewed or we go into interviews and we don't know what to expect. You know, we go into situations where we might sit down and talk to somebody and they may not have a clue about what you do, don't really care. They might just want to get the tea, you know what I'm saying? Or just be on their own agenda as opposed to being on the Christ or a God agenda. You feel me? So I want to make sure that when you come in here, you not only get to hear the artist's heart, but at the same time you hear something that can speak into your lives as believers. Because I like to think that most of us in here are believers, have a relationship with God, want to have a relationship with God, and I think it's important to hear from other creatives as far as what their purpose are and how it's going to help you elevate to the next level and to the next level, and you know, be used in discipleship, be used in evangelism, all the things that we deem important or God deems important for us because He's the King. Like one thing that my pastor, Louis Straker Jr. out in the Rock, Brooklyn, he really stresses is the fact that sometimes we look at Christ and we know He's Savior. You know, John 3:16, dying on the cross, 3 nails, the whole bit. But we forget He's Lord. You know what I'm saying? He's our King. We are His servants. We do His bidding. You know, there ain't no arguing with God. If God asks you to do this, you better do it. Don't add no sauce to it. Don't say, well, you know what, God, I was thinking that maybe instead of you doing this, we could do this. No, I'm God. You feel me? And God has built us or put us together for a purpose, and we are to carry out His purpose. And I think sometimes along the way we kind of forget that, you know, because we want to do our own thing and add our sauce to it. But I feel like that's super, super, super important, you know, and hopefully you'll probably hear that in a lot of conversations and a lot of the music that you're going to hear today. But I could go on and on about that, but I really want to kind of like set the tone of what this evening is about. Tonight we're going to be interviewing 2 artists who are dear friends of mine, and they're going to be telling some very interesting stories. But before we even get to that, I had an open mic list that I put over there. Saw 3 names on it. I think we can rock with this 3. So, can we get to the open mic list?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Y'all don't sound too good. Can we get to the open mic list, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so if you are an instrumentalist, if you have your own instruments, I'm assuming that you're good. If you need music given to somebody, if you haven't had a chance, make sure you mosey over to my man on the side. He's wearing the blue and the white and the yellow. Matter of fact, I feel like we should acknowledge him since he's the house DJ of the night. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for DJ MIGS. oh, by the way, for those who will be seeing this in the future, since you're not here, just be advised that this whole thing is being, you know, visualized and conceptualized and recorded through the good folks at State of Mind TV in the background right there, my man BRONX EMCEE and company. They're making sure that this whole situation is documented visually. So on YouTube, you can come back and revisit it again. So give it up for them, ladies and gentlemen, real quick. All right, so this feels like a library. I want to get a little louder and a little loud, okay? So I really need y'all to make a lot of noise for our first artist. The cool thing, I just mentioned my church, The Rock, Brooklyn, out there in Brooklyn, Utica Avenue, corner of Utica Avenue in Beverly, and she is going to be sharing a piece with us. I told her, you know, behind the scenes that, listen, feel free to share your heart. This is not a competition, this ain't the Apollo, this is you sharing your heart.
Yes.
What God implanted into you. So it should not be a problem, and I think we should all be willing to hear it. So ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome. Warm welcome. Louder welcome. Make some noise as we bring to the stage Cherise.
Thank you.
Feel free to use Is it kind of tall?
Yes.
You want to shorten the chair? Or you don't have to use it. You don't have to stand. You can stand. Absolutely can stand. I can move on the spot.
However you feel comfortable. Yeah.
I feel like I'll fall. Usually the thing is I like to sit because I'm already super tall now. I tower with people all the time.
Well, that's kind of my size.
I know the feeling.
I don't quite have this memorized, so I'm going to read it from the paper. And this is my first time ever doing this, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Very first.
Make some noise for that.
Kind of like what he was saying, how God tells you to do something. So I felt like God led him to me, and when he said, hey, come on out, I felt like God told him to tell me that. So I didn't hesitate. And I came, I didn't make excuses. I just came, and here I am. Where we go? To whom I am. Sadness inside a child who never grew, whom you never took the time, the patience. You just passed by, overlooked, and never knew. To whom I am the wind blew by. I did cry, let out sighs. Strangers passed by, never did bat an eye. Who am I? That inner child that did indeed not die. The invisibility, the blind eye. Curtains closed, hearing aids versus falsettos. No one knows. It doesn't show. Truth be told, it scarred her soul. Thank you.
Another one, or you're going down with? Well, now that you're here, see, you're going to get a little interview right now, off the rip, because I love these moments. All right, so I have to ask, and it was really good. In fact, give it up for her one more time. What was your inspiration for writing that specific piece?
I didn't know what my audience would be like. I didn't exactly know who I was going to be in front of. And just in case, I wanted it to touch someone. Right. And let them, I wanted them to feel it.
I got you.
Just in case I needed to help someone.
Okay, that's fair. I like that. Wait, I have one more question. What do you think for yourself? Because we're in the same ministry, we're in the same fellowship, and you know we have certain expectations and stuff like that. Like Pastor shares with us a lot of times, and then we gotta go out into the wider world. What's the hardest thing about? What's the hardest thing about being a disciple?
Losing one.
Expound.
In membership classes, Elder Monroe explains that you're not supposed to persuade them to come. If you have to do that, then it's no need to try. And you feel like you want to because you don't want to leave anyone behind.
Right.
And
or if you don't have any interest,
yeah, of course. And then you feel like you lost that one. And I don't like that feeling.
That's fair.
Because I really don't want to leave anyone behind.
Amen. I like that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Give it up for Sharice, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Yeah, man. We like to think that when that time comes, we're trying not to leave anybody behind, right? That's the goal, right? Again, this evangelism and discipleship, super, super, super important. You know, like it's kind of like when we all went to see Black Panther, right? Once we saw it, we like, yo, did you not go see it? Did you not go see it? Like, yeah, did you not go see it 2 times? Oh, did you not go see it 5 times? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody understood what the movement was and what the agenda was. So we like to think about that as far as being believers. So again, give it up for Sharice one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, in my little intro, right? One thing I forgot was that in addition to interviewing people, I even had the opportunity for one particular episode to have a guest host. And that guest host is a really close friend of mine. She's about to step on stage. She's a lyricist, creative, worship leader, a myriad of things that God is using her in. She's an artist. Like, you almost forget how many things that she does or has the capability of doing. And I have the pleasure of knowing her for the last year or so, and she's going to bless you all tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Evie. Got it?
I was like, where's my phone? Can I just grab this mic real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The stand? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the stand, the mic stand.
I got you.
Let me bring it down because it's edited for me, but no. How's that? It's good?
That's good.
There you go.
I'm gonna do a poem. I just want to share something real quick, right? So there was a poem I wrote today that I was gonna share, but I deleted it on my phone for some weird reason. I don't know how I did that, which sucks, but you know, I kind of wanted to talk about real quick before I start my poem.
Sure.
About the church, right? And how I was seeing some people online on Facebook kind of like, they make the church look bad. You know, because they're over here speaking in tongues and kind of coming at each other, and then people are taking it as a joke. And I was like, there's nothing funny about that, because for people who don't believe in God or are doubtful of God, you know, that kind of sends out confusion, you know? And, you know, for everybody that's here, I just want you to be mindful of your walk with Christ, you know, and be mindful of the fact that whatever you post on social media or whatever you are showing yourself to be in front of people, you know, it can lead people to Christ or it can lead people farther away from Christ, just saying. But I'm gonna share a poem, right? Some of you have heard this one before, but it's about self-worth. And I think when I wrote this poem, I was going through a lot of self-doubt. You know, I still struggle with it now at some points, you know, but I think as long as you know who you are and whose you are, amen,
yes,
all is well, amen?
Amen.
Cool. Okay. Validation. Randy. Randy knows this poem, I'm sorry.
Good.
Don't make fun of me. Okay. Validation is subjective, but the objective is to be accepted. A chase after the wind will cost you time. We're not convicts, but still somewhat we're paying for a crime that we didn't commit. But we're committed to this lustful youth, searching for an answer in the fountain of truth. Lies hang off of everything that surrounds us. Feels like I'm picking apples from a tree, and I only seem to pick the ripe ones. Their lives, the knowledge of good and evil, soul's disposition, choosing to walk in the Garden of Eden, but the personage of my flesh is the one that's leading, expecting much from, as though the combat within is easy to win, fact-finding, this didn't start now, it has been. Slurs of adverse words penetrate, you underestimate, just let me demonstrate and let's resonate. Don't pick and pull. Just let me have my time to find who I truly am. Without inquiring, there's a beginning, middle, and end. The only thing appropriate is a fake smile. And the pressured action of a person behind the scenes directing you to ashes. Ashes because we're worked up, then burnt down. Held up to high expectations, then let down. Did it ever escape you? This city is great. The rays of sunshine is the only thing that seems to play out the heat that I need when my nights are cold. I'm beaten by deceit, but I'm called to stand bold, firm, rooted and planted. Enchanted by my dreams, goals, passions, and incentive. I've sold myself short, but I still have intentions. Trying to shine my light as the star that I am. Actions speak louder, but I know what's within. We're not what others determine. It's not a race and there is no first place. The biggest challenge is to tune out the critics and overcome yourself. If we aren't living our dreams, we're living our fear. Become boundless and don't let life interfere. It all begins today, yesterday is over. Consider reasons related to purpose, vision, and dreams, and think of how it'll help vocationally, relationally, and spiritually. Any reason to grow is a good reason. Don't focus on the seasons. The skies may be gray, but really the sky is blue. It's just the clouds roll in, bringing about rain. It's all temporary, but it definitely helps you. Out of every wrong comes a positive light. Search for it. You'll see that I'm right. Amen. That's it. That's all I got.
Nice.
Come on back. Come on back. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Evie one more time. Evie, join me on the stage, man. Or some. Yeah. Or some.
Ah, man. Amazing piece, by the way. Amazing. Amazing. I've never heard it. I've never had the pleasure like Randy beat me to that, but you know. I see you get exclusives.
Yeah, of course.
Got you. Right. So, 2 questions. That piece. Why that piece? And why does that mean so much to you? The inspiration, you even performing it on the stage, sharing it with people. Why that piece?
Why that piece? Because I think building your self-confidence is an ongoing journey.
Right.
You know, and I share that piece because it also serves as motivation and encouragement for myself. You know, because as I stated before, like that's self-esteem is an area that I do struggle with. But I don't allow it to define who I am, regardless of how I might struggle with it. You know, so I wanted to share it today because I just feel like, you know, it's always good to be remembered that no matter where you're at in life, no matter how many times you've fallen or what it looks like, you are still a winner, you know?
Amen. I like that. And you also said something very powerful at the beginning. Again, it kind of ties into a lot of stuff that I've been drilled with at my fellowship. The whole idea of just how we present ourselves as believers to the world.
Right.
And whether it be in person, whether it be in social media, whether it be whatever platform you feel like you have at your disposal, and just how it might just turn somebody's mind towards God or away from Him.
Right.
Like, talk about why that speaks to you so deeply.
I mean, it speaks to me so deeply because there's so many people hurting out in the world.
Right.
And when you are a person of influence, I think you have to be careful in which direction you're leading people.
Right.
You know, because you can be sending them straight to hell, or you can be leading them to salvation. You know, and I think nowadays a lot of artists are using their platforms in a way where they've compromised the gospel. You know. So to me, that's worrisome because I'm like, listen, you know, don't compromise the gospel just to appease the masses, because at the end of the day, you're going to be held accountable for that.
Does it feel like a mixed message?
I do think so. I do think so, because it's like we're trying to portray Christ to be this Lord and Savior and this great man, but then, you know, when it comes to like the jokes or certain things, there's certain thin lines.
It's fine lines. Right?
Yeah, there's fine lines. So I don't mind the jokes, but when you make church seem like it's a joke, then, you know, I think it's a misleading message.
And I would say too with that, I think it's also important that when we recognize that something's off with our peers and the way that other people present the gospel, I think it should also challenge us to look at ourselves and see where we might be like off and what type of mixed message that we send, so that, you know, you don't ever want to be that person or that community of people that's kind of like misleading people away from God. So it's like really be the change that you want to see, and it starts with you. So I'm glad that you shared that and was brave enough to share that with people. Give it up for Evie, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. All right, we still good? We still good? Yeah. I'm very happy. I saw my other guest show up, just come through the door. I ain't gonna blow up that person yet, but there will be time. So I'm glad that everybody's here, and I'm glad this feels nice and intimate, right? Real unplugged. I like this. Rich said we should take the lights down, put on these little fog lights right here. So if I'm squinting, it's because I can barely see you a little bit, but it's okay. I know you guys are here. All right, I have one more. If no one else signed that list, I believe I have only one more open mic artist up next. Not up left, up next. I get my words confused. This guy, we just actually did an event this past Wednesday. Anybody familiar with I Am Chelsea I Am? Woo! Yes. Cool. So if you've been following her on social media, you know that she's been having a beautiful week, literally and figuratively, because she's celebrating the release of an EP called A Beautiful Mess. It came out today on her birthday, 4/20, and she took the whole week to just prep people, introduce the upcoming project, doing different things in different parts of the city, and we came through to Argo T in Chelsea to be part of what she was doing on that particular Wednesday, and she's having like her album release tonight actually. So a lot of us, after we're done here, we're probably gonna roll over there to celebrate with her. And Danny was there, and he did his thing, and I expect that he's gonna do his thing again. So ladies and gentlemen, please, a lot of noise, a warm welcome for Danny Love, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you need.
Chair.
Chair out of here.
That's it.
Top.
The mic can stay right there.
Well, might understand.
No, yeah, just the mic right there. This is nice and intimate. God bless you all.
God bless you.
This is good.
This is good. Thank you for asking. You know, it's interesting. I came into this place and everybody's like, "Hey man, how's married life?" Because I just got married about a year ago. Glory to God, and you know, and my wife is the most amazing person you'll ever meet. She is sweet. She is love incarnate. She is all of these things and more. But you know, as they were saying these things, and as you were speaking, as you guys said your pieces, I could not help but tear up and cry. I'm easily not easily emotional, but when the presence of God is in a certain vicinity, I can't help but like just worship inside, like and so I mentioned my marriage because a lot of Goliaths are starting to stand up against my marriage. When you said that, when people were saying that how's married life, and you know, you gotta pretend sometimes like, oh, it's good, it's great, man, it's awesome, and then you know, you get home and things aren't, you know, exactly perfect, but they're good, but they're not perfect, you know what I mean? So I want to share this song. I've never shared this song in my life. I was gonna do a Foo Fighters song. I was gonna, you know, DJ kill it, but I don't feel that's not what God wants, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to glorify myself. I'm here to glorify the Most High. So this song basically says, my Goliaths fall down beneath my feet, all because of you, King Majesty. So if you memorize that, you can sing along, and it just repeats, and then there's a little bridge that you guys, once you get it, you guys can repeat with me, but glory to God. All because of you, So Father, we come humbly before your presence, Almighty God, and we thank you, Lord. Because you're mighty and worthy and everlasting and infinite, God. You are holy, God. You are Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end, our Savior and our best friend. Oh God, you are mighty and infinite, God. You are, oh God, you are the biggest God I've ever had in my life, God. And I know that sounds a bit corny, God, but when you really think about it, God, when you really think about it, there's some idols that we need to get rid of. There's some things that we need to take out of our lives. And I ask you, God, that if those things are trying to take over that place where you belong, that we rebuke them and bind them right now in the name of Jesus. That those idols of worry, of doubt, of insecurities may not overcome the love and the power that you instill in us, God. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. And if you memorize this chorus, you can just sing with me one more time. My Goliaths fall. Here we go, come on. My Goliaths fall down beneath my feet, all because of you, King Majesty. My Goliaths fall down beneath my feet, all because of you, King Majesty. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. We have a saying in our church. We have a nice little saying. So it's a little childish, but we have a nice saying. It goes, if you can't clap with your hands, stop with your feet. If you can't stop with your feet, then sing. And if you can't sing, move your body. If you can't do none of those, then I'll see you in heaven. Hallelujah, glory to God. I worship you, Jesus.
So this song is a song that I'll be releasing a week from today. It's inspired by so many things, not the least of which was the passing of two incredibly gifted artists that I grew up listening to, bought their albums, got me through some really hard times. These gentlemen were Chris Cornell of Soundgarden and Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. And they both took their own lives almost a month apart from each other. And you start thinking about the fact that these multi-millionaires, these people who sold millions of albums, these people who have influenced so many people and got people through their storms were able to weather the storms of their own. And it really speaks to the concept and the idea that people are crying out or want to cry out to people and they don't know who to turn to. And if they do want to cry out, they feel like, well, I'm a singer. I'm a Grammy Award-winning singer. And I'm deeply depressed, and I don't know if people can accept that from me. I'm a pastor pastor. The congregation is waiting on me, needing me, hanging on me. And I don't want to get out of bed. And I don't know who I can turn to for prayer or counsel or even to admit this because I'm the pastor. And there's a lot of people that's walking around right now, keeping a lot of things, suffering in silence, staying in isolation because they're afraid to cry because they don't want to let anybody down, because they're highly dependent on. So I wrote this song called A Beautiful Mind, crying out to you. And I pray for anybody who been trying to cry out that this is your song and that you find somebody tonight, not the least of which, Jesus. I'm crying crying out to you. And I'm frightened that I'm dying, I can't speak to you. I'm crying out to you. And I'm frightened that I'm dying, I can't speak to you. And I don't want to let you down, and then you run away. And I don't want to be around if you don't want to stay. And I don't want to let you down, and then you run away. And I don't want to be around if you don't want to stay. Don't want to play games with a throne. I'm so far gone as a fire, breathing dragon. I'm Khaleesi, thinking that deeply as a choir, breathing passion. A Christ with a leader, with a mask on that future didn't rap about. Isolation got you one step closer to a Chester, Bennington tapping out. Lack of identity trapping out, full of demons that need casting out. Ain't nothing to laugh about when the devil got your number the exact amount. When you like men, you're masculine and you can't talk to your pastor, then you isolate yourself, wrapped up in all the guilt that got your tragic end. And you never saw it coming like Trump in office. Guilt is a currency, come up off it. Trapped in your head like Kelly in the closet, with life full of promises of empty deposit. You don't know who you can turn to. STD like how it burns you, like Usher's confessions, buried and paid off. His public perceptions, the ultimate trade-off. Personal trainers got no weight off the hate of the races, a race like Adolf. Shot down shootings on a holiday weekend. I pray God takes me away from the deep end. With all these demons, I've kept them sound to the point of need to keep a weapon down. From a head voice from men under pressure now. A beautiful mind, don't want to let you down. Cause I'm crying out to you. And I'm frightened that I'm dying, I can't speak to you. And I don't want to let you down, and then you run away. And I don't want to be around if you don't want to stay. So please pray. I speak for the bipolar and manic, depressive, not sober, addict, obsessive soldier with a madness, aggressive, not over patterns that threaten hope and aspect of heaven. Know that he's grasping for brethren, not cold whose path is a blessing. Work through his past and accept them, no light. When darkness consumes everything in your whole life, there's no promised land. You are Moses, you won't see it so tight. Cause you feel it's not fair that you're not there. All the while God got a purpose, but you're burdened, wishing you're not here. It's an American horror story, only Fox can't see it. When you've been raped since you were 9, you clearly got a grievance. ADHD, disobedient, deal with demons. They stay tweaking, dealing with it as they act a fool. We write them off in our after schools and we tell them, don't bother me, don't interrupt my life. Just be my favorite pop star, though you cut yourself that night. I don't care why you're stressed out. Shut up, be my wife. But your wife's been trying to disappear. She really needed prayer when she said that I'm crying. I'm crying out to you. And I'm frightened that I'm dying. I can't speak to you.
down, and then you run away, and I don't want to be around if you don't want to stay. I'm crying out to you, and I'm falling and I'm dying, and I can't speak to you, and I don't want to let you down, and then you run away, and I don't want to be around if you don't want to stay. So please pray, please pray. Please pray, please pray, please pray. Please pray, please pray, please pray. Once again, we love the guitar, ladies and gentlemen. You enjoy that? Yeah. So, yeah, that was my little surprise. I figure, you know, at one point, I was thinking of actually dropping that song today, but I was like, you know, there's a lot going on 420. There's this today, there's Chelsea's thing, and I was like, yo, let me let it get an extra week to breathe, and then, you know, we can do that. But yeah, man, it's one of the most, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's honestly one of the most important songs I've ever written. I mean, it may or may not be one of the most popular songs, but I'm very proud of that piece because of just what it's supposed to be and everything that comes with it. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad I was able to share it with y'all. So shout out to y'all, man. And now we come to the main event. I think I might need some extra chairs up here. Get that situated because our guests are here. Before they come on stage, I just want to let y'all know that these two gentlemen, like I said, really good friends of mine, award-winning artists, and yeah, man, they got some very important stories to tell, very key things that we're going to discuss today, and I want you guys to have an open heart when it comes to like this conversation and what it means, and I really want you to listen and take this in because I feel like there's so much information that you're about to receive, not just about their lives, but just how to make it applicable to your situation or situations you may encounter in the future. It's funny because in a weird move of the spirit, Danny kind of touched on it a little bit on stage where he talked about him being married, but facing Goliaths in his marriage. And you know, a lot of times people get married, like I'm engaged, I'm scheduled to be married this year. And man, like, as much as I'm super excited about that, because you know, that's the love of my life, and our story in itself is a weird Nicholas Sparks novel. It really is.
No, that's not good. He writes tragedies.
He's a tragedy.
No.
Well, before any, you know, it's just a weird turn of, you see how you spin that? That's crazy.
I don't know.
Let's just say it took a while for us to get to each other. Let's just say that we had to go through some things to get to each other. That part of the Nicholas Sparks, romantic, whatever. Yeah. Sound for that? You got no chairs? Oh, looks like I'll be doing the short chair. All right, cool. Fantastic. I'm tall enough, I can do it. Yeah, but as I was saying that, yeah, you know, marriages are like very, you know, and it's a reason why marriages are so closely connected to the church itself. You know, the whole bride price, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So they need to be protected at all costs. But you know, sometimes stuff happens. But beyond that, because it's not going to be centered around that. But like, in fact, let me get these guys up here, man, because I feel like I'm giving it all away. So, yeah. So once again, I want y'all to shout out one person or make some noise for one person. He lets us do these things here. Is he there? Oh yeah, I see him in the shadows. I need y'all to give it up for Richard Dolphin one more time. Okay, with that said, let's do it. Y'all ready for the conversation?
Yeah.
I said y'all ready for the conversation.
Yeah.
This is the first one of season 2. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a great talk. Oh, also, there's an option. At the end of our conversation, you guys are fully free to ask questions of any of these gentlemen. A few questions. A whole other interview. It's a few questions. All right. So the first person I want to bring up, man, I have known for a good while. He's given us super dope albums. Some of them have a lot to do with dates and times, as far as before Christ and after Christ. He's a Kingdom Choice Award winner, I think multiple times. He's dropped amazing videos like Best Friend and the new one he has out called Death Did Us Part. I haven't seen him in a while. I mean, I catch him occasionally, and but we haven't been really in community together, and we'll find out why. But I'm really excited to have him, not just here, but just back. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Dave Gage Veira.
Thanks for sending this son down for my sins. If it wasn't for him,
I mean, that's the tallest we got.
get it going right now.
I'm tall, so I can make it.
The tall seat next to this tall.
So I'll praise you for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we're just making sure everything is right. Migs, I like Migs. Migs is in the spirit. He threw the Cage joint on. Like, we didn't talk about this. We didn't prep this. We just knew. Give it up for DJ MIGS one more time. And last but not least, DJ. Oh, man. Look, this guy is also one of my closest friends. Again, another multiple Kingdom Choice Award winner, lyricist.
Freestyle, still better.
Yeah, you know, this guy.
Beat me.
This guy.
So bitter.
This guy. Y'all having inside baseball jokes over there about bitterness and who should have won, and we're past that. We revived. You know what I mean? We on that. Okay, we can start that conversation. Let's go. Alright, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy, like I said, multiple award winner, one of the most incredible artists I've ever met. He has a new project coming out called Truth Interrupted, and with that comes a story. So, ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome, loud noise, give it up for Malakai the Truth. Yeah, make some noise for Malakai the Truth and Gage. You guys want to move a little closer? Matter of fact, can someone hold my mic? Hold my mic real quick. I want to get more comfortable so I know it's going to make sure they got the mic situated.
So you guys can go to commercial now.
Brought to you by KAINES.
Thank you.
Looking for your spouse, go to ChristianMingle.com.
It doesn't work.
Oh, you got jokes. Oh, that's the type of jokes we doing. Oh, okay. Oh, man, this is going to be wild. Lord of mercy. All right, let's try this again. Give it up for Malakai the Truth and Gage, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so full disclosure. Malakai, I see you kind of often. Gage, I see you ever so often once in the blue moon, but hopefully not being the case anymore. So I never talked to you about having what type of questions that we're gonna speak on. We never had that conversation because there's things that I've always wanted to ask, and I felt like it would be more raw and more visceral if I just got it in the moment. And it's funny because before I even thought about doing the next conversation series for the second season, Malakai reached out to me asking, hey, when are you doing it? I want to talk. I'm like, oh, word? We ready? It's like that? Okay, cool. Then, maybe not even a week later, this dude comes on the scene and started talking about, I got a new video. He didn't say it, but I'm seeing I'm seeing the rollout. And I'm realizing, oh, these stories are kind of similar, kind of in the same ballpark. And I reached out to him and I was like, yo, Gage, can we talk about this? And you know, I got Malakai with me and he was with it, obviously, he's here. So, it's gonna be like a great tennis match. This is gonna be back and forth. This is, you know, Jan Borg and John McEnroe. This is what's gonna happen, back and forth. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so, who do I wanna start with? I'm gonna start with Gage. So yeah, bro, I haven't seen you in a while. I remember going to like Crown Chicken, getting some food, and I walk across the street to my building, and next thing you know, you're beeping the horn, and it's you. And we sit down in the car for a while, we talk. And
We're gonna get some small chairs.
Yeah. For the aesthetics.
Yeah.
oh yeah? Alright, cool, we switching chairs. Hold on. See, this is live. This is on the fly.
So everything you just said, you got to say it all over.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we'll just chop it up.
Loving this, right? Everything I said? Okay, cool. Now I got you.
Now we
Thank God I'm a
fix the
professional
light.
and I can do this.
Now I gotta fix the light.
Yeah. Alright, cool. It's better, right? Yeah, it actually feels a lot better too. I feel one of y'all.
Always listen to the rappers.
Nah. Alright, Malakai, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Alright, bet. So let's try it again. Alright, so. Right up to the welcome back to the conversation series. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Malakai the Truth. Engage. Now, again, full disclosure, I haven't seen these guys in a very long time. Well, Malakai I've seen, Gage not so much. But beyond that, even when we signed up to do this particular event, you know, we didn't have a powwow about what questions I should ask. We didn't have any kind of conversation, simply because I wanted to make sure that the questions I ask of you are visceral, are raw, are uncut, are vivid, are brutally honest if necessary, right? And I figured because of, you know, things that you had gone through, and then you said, you know, you reached out to me and you said, you know, I want to speak on it. You know, like, when's the next conversation series back? I want to speak on it. And then not much longer than that, then, you know, Gage wraps this video and it's very interesting. And even in conversations, the one or two conversations we had, I realized that something was up. And then the video kind of like gave more evidence to that. So at that point, I was just like, well, we should just all talk together. And I figured that if we talk together in front of a live audience, it would make more of a very interesting conversation as far as just like this story. So Gage, I'm gonna start with you. Yeah, so, you know, you dropped this video that did this part. Great video, great record. You know, I hear the artistic growth and everything, but it's a little different. And it's a little different. And the thing is, you know, like you follow people on social media, and you know, we consciously or subconsciously put our lives on social media. And then, you know, you watch somebody's social media, and then after a while, you've seen some changes and like something a little different. I don't see certain pictures anymore. I don't see certain declarations anymore. And at one point, you were ghost. I don't even think you were on Instagram at one point. You were off that. And you know, you drive this video, and yo, funny story, no lie. I literally saw the person that you were with yesterday on the train as I got off my stop. Yesterday. I'm getting off Church Avenue, I look, and there she is, waving hi, and it's cool, and I get off, and it's like, that's crazy, I'm interviewing David tomorrow. It's wild to me. Yeah, so, yeah, well, yes, that too. But you know, but yeah, that did this part. It's an amazing record, a lot of growth. But you're talking about some things on that you've been dealing with. So, what's up?
Well, thank you for having me out. Can y'all hear me good?
Yes.
It's been a crazy, I would say 2.5 years for me, particularly as David Veira himself, not Gage.
Right.
You know, Gage has been doing a lot of crazy stuff, and Gage was caught up in a lot of things that he shouldn't have been in, as far as being a Christian rapper, as well as being someone that was out in the forefront. So I would like to start off with saying, you know, at this particular time, I'm currently divorced. Now, I don't want to just get at the fact that I am divorced and just leave it at that and go into for certain things. I kind of want to get y'all to understand why I'm divorced.
Okay.
And I understand why I'm divorced. And I learned not to be a victim anymore and to sit there and try to act like everybody's doing things to me. When I realized that I was doing things to myself. And I would say the best part about this 2 years that I've ever really realized is that when God tells you certain things not to do, He's not doing it to tell you what to do, and He's not asking you to do something for Him. He doesn't want something from you, He wants something for you. And if you're a parent, you will understand that when you tell your kids not to do something, you're not telling them not to do it because you just want to tell them what to do. You're telling them not to do it because you know what's best for them.
Right, you're kind of getting them in position.
Right, so you're trying to help them out to understand that. So to start off this whole situation, I have been addicted to porn for years. Since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in a family with 8 brothers, 3 sisters, and all my brothers was older than me. I'm the youngest, and everybody was just wilding. Where it was just that the more girls you had, the better you were. Even down to my own family. I was babysitted by an older woman at times that mishandled me. So I was actually, you know, I would say taken advantage of from an older woman who was very promiscuous out there. So when we talk about soul ties and all that kind of stuff, it's real.
You might be asking how old were you when that happened?
I would probably say, and that's to show you it's so wild because I don't exactly know the year, the age, but I would say I was too young to know better. And I was probably, I would say about, I would probably, if you want to do a ballpark figure, 6, 7.
Gotcha.
So this has happened to me from there, and then all of a sudden from there, the porn came in. So now, at that point in time, I'm addicted to porn. You know, running around with different girls. As I'm not saying at 6 years old. I mean, let's be real. You know what I mean? I'm saying when I got.
Nah, I get the context. Heck of a thing to do at 6 years old, bro.
So what I'm saying is further on down the line, when I get into high school now, I start, you know, running around, you know, the normal 20, 21-year-old after high school, and I'm running around. I'm on tour. I'm doing shows because I'm a Christian. I'm not a Christian rapper at the time.
Right, right.
So I'm rapping and I'm still going out there doing my thing and doing my thing into the world and running around. And I get into a relationship for 7 years, and then we broke up, and I lost it all at that point. And that's what brought me to Christ on December 31st, 1999.
Name of your first album?
That was the name of my first album.
Right.
So me coming to Christ now, I thought I had it all together. I'm figuring, okay, well, you check this out. Jesus saved me. All my stuff in the past is gone. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly mistaken. I'm pretty sure every Christian in here knows better than me. Amen. That's not the end. Okay, there's a lot of work to do. That was the beginning, actually.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, you know, I just started to do more of the church lingo things. You know, I'm a good rapper, so I go into the church and I start doing records, and you know, the church was kind of shunning me at first because they was figuring my stuff was too underground. You know, Conquest, we dealt with that a lot. And I decided, okay, well, my second album, January 1st, 2000, I'm gonna cater to the church. Right. So I knew exactly to do the church lingo. Mind you, I'm still addicted to porn.
Let's stop there for a second. So, yeah, because, all right, so at one point, around the time, I want to say right around the time you dropped Best Friend, like right around that January 1st, 2000 album, like, I feel like you were at the peak of your popularity. Like, I couldn't really find anybody who did not want to do a song with you. I couldn't find anybody who wouldn't want to come to a Gage affiliated show. Like, you know, as far as our little small independent thing of ours in New York, you were on top at one point. And not just on top for the sake of being on top, but just like the respect, the reverence, the accolades, everything. People looked up to you. I looked up to you. We would have various conversations about stuff that I may or may not have been doing wrong, and just giving advice and just going back and forth. Meanwhile, you're dealing with this thing.
Yeah,
was there anybody around that time that you even gave an inkling?
And that's the problem. You see, it's funny when you say you looked up to me, I looked up to me. And that's the problem. Because I was more caught up in the hype. I was caught up in the church accepting me because I knew what to say.
Right.
But I didn't have a relationship with Christ yet.
And I think that's very key. The church lingo, knowing what to say, having the catchphrases, appearing the part, looking the part, making music that caters to a certain community. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that anybody who has any kind of artistry in them and who's ever have been blessed with talent know how to just fit in.
Yep.
But I didn't have a relationship with Jesus until 2 years ago. And I've been saved since '99. So when he says in his word, get to know me, because I'm meek and my burden is light, we always skip the part, but we get to the part where I'm meek and burden and light, but we skip the part that he says, get to know me. See, because how can you serve somebody that you don't know?
Right, right.
So, I mean, how could you even trust somebody that you don't know? So, there was a lot of things that I just didn't know as a Christian, as far as, first of all, I didn't even know myself as a man, knowing that men and women experience intimacy differently. Men are visual, men are we're physical, women are more verbal, and and they want to hear things. So that's why they say, guys, you got the gift of gab, you pull the girl. Because women are more verbal, men are visual. So all this time, I'm sitting here looking at porn, seeing 1,000 girls, I become a Christian, and I feel, okay, well, I could just go from looking at 1,000 to just looking at one.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that switch don't go off like that.
It's just not going to happen.
So let me ask you this, too. There's a piece that you do. You often do it a cappella. I actually have never heard it to music. And it's that piece that, if you follow Gage, you know it well. It's the one where you address the women and you address the men. If y'all know him, you know what joint I'm talking about. Powerful piece, right? Very convicting. In the moments that you did that piece, were you even convicted then with everything that was going on?
My first record that I ever came out with when I was convicted was Death Did His Part. So let me just be clear. I was not convicted my whole entire career. 18 years in Christ, set free only 2. Talking it won't get you free, is up to what you do.
Okay.
That's what I said in that record.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you that I was still battling masturbation. I was still battling porn. I was still battling my eyes. Me being a man, knowing that we're visual beings, I didn't understand why my eyes were like heat sensors. The minute somebody passes in the summer, it was just like, phew, and it's just like you couldn't even control it.
Phew, phew, phew.
But I didn't understand that because I was feeding it. Whatever you got to remember, anything that you do in life, you build. You build porn addictions, you build relationships, you build love, or you build hate. But everything is built. And I thought that I could just walk to an altar and say, I do, and be able to. But you can't. Everything, including being a husband, you have to learn. You have to be trained in. You can't just have your ability to look at anything you want to look at and then all of a sudden be able to just look at one and be satisfied. Variety never satisfies. It only fuels the desire. And that's what I said in the song. You gotta starve it till you crave for one. So what I had to understand is God had to be able, those 2 years you didn't see me, God had to let me be able to be content with none so I could appreciate one.
Can you say that again?
I had to be content with none so I could appreciate one. So what that means is I don't watch rated R movies no more. I don't watch anything in the thing that has anything to do with any kind of explicit things. I do not want to see no naked bodies but one. Because see, we make that normal, even down to Christians. We speak about going to see rated R movies and you're seeing human beings, wives, some people's wives, and we're lusting after them with our eyes and not realizing that it's destroying your marriage just from that situation that you're looking at. And you don't realize it.
Right, especially if you're highly susceptible to it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And if you're a man, because men are visual. We don't realize that, but I'm talking in here, and I know every man in here knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Women may not, but men know.
Preach.
So we got to stop ignoring the fact that get to know who you are and understand what things you should not bring into your home. And understand this, when I realized this, I realized how I was hurting myself. Like, I know what intimacy is now, and that's not, I want nothing but it right now. I don't want to be able to be seeing more than one of anything. I'm good with one. I mean, I said that on the interview, as crazy as it may sound. If you're a person that drinks, and you drink one drink, it always gets to your head, but if you get to 5 drinks, one don't do it for you no more. Think about it.
So let's put that on pause for a second. That's a good way to... Y'all liking the conversation so far?
Amen.
Yeah? Okay, so let's stay with that. Hold on one second. Let me turn to my immediate left.
Bro.
Man. Alright, so let me paint a picture for y'all, for those who don't know in the room. So again, I've known Malakai for years. I can't remember the number, I've lost count, but it's been a while. I met him at Higher Calling.
First one.
First one, okay. Whenever the first one was, that's how long I've known him.
We were the first ones on time.
Right. It was that too, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. So so I've known Malakai. So let me paint a picture for those who don't know his history. So I knew him, I met him, and then I met Noah, and I met everybody he was affiliated with, including his kids and his wife at the time. Almost like astronomically and extremely quick, like Malakai just became the guy.
Yes, sir.
You know, Malakai just became one of those guys, and at some points the guy, as far as just his ministry, his music, doing events, the accolades, the respect, his lyricism, his body of work, the way he was able to flip certain songs that used to belong to Jay and Ye and Riri, and just made it one band, one sound. The times he ripped down Higher Calling, and then he ripped down Rap Fest, and he came through and ripped down Kingdom Choice Awards, and just building this fast and high ascent for him and his ministry. And the fact that I used to just see him around with his wife and kids in tow, even the wife, you know, had a bar or two that she could spit as well. It was like, oh, this is just a rapping this family over here, you know? And just watching these guys ascend, I've never seen anything like it that close, you know? And we all know that, you know, Malakai has a transcendent gift. Just the way he would just walk into a room, and then all of a sudden it's not rap no more, it's complete worship, it's complete, yo, I'm going over my time, we talking this talk, and the presence of God was in the room, and it was hard to get him out, and you didn't want him out, because he was in the room. Like, this was Malakai. In a lot of ways, it still is Malakai, right? So we're watching this, and I remember going to, I want to say it was a Kingdom Generals event, and I remember that there was some weird things happening on his social media page, his Facebook. And it was just like certain things that just put me in pause as far as his marriage was concerned. And it just seemed like, okay, there's trouble there. And, you know, maybe the wife's not doing the right things. And some to that effect, you know, I pull him to the side, it's like, yo, everything good? Are we good? And it's like, yeah, you know, we're working this thing out. My wife is just not in a really great place right now. It's just, you know, but the way it seemed at the time, he seemed like he had it under control. And if there was a deep hurt there, that he was on top of it, he was blameless, he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is hella disappointing, but I'm good. I'm good. But it just continued. It just started to spill all over social media. All these weird cryptic messages, everything just started just being left. And then I had a conversation with his wife at the time, and yeah, it was a lot. A lot. And it just, like the way she was describing it at the time, I was like, is this the same guy? It does not sound like the same guy. You know, near police police being called in, arrests, shelters, psychiatric wards. What's going on? And it's like, this picture just didn't look right. And then, you know, there's more information, but I don't want to drop the details. I'm gonna let him drop the details. But it was just all bad. This marriage was burning up in fiery flames. It was all bad, bad. To the point where at one point, maybe some, because I didn't advertise it, there's no need. You know, at one point, Malakai had to stay with me for about maybe a couple of weeks. Yep. I just moved into an apartment. I didn't even have all my furniture in there yet. And at one point, it was looking like he was going to be in the shelter. And I'm like, dude, you're not in the shelter. I'm your friend. You can stay here. You want to sleep on the carpet and the wood floors, because I just don't want you in the shelter. And he stayed there for a while as he and his wife at the time was trying to repair their marriage, trying to get it back, because Malakai had fallen so far off the wagon when it came to that in ways that just was unfathomable in my mind. But they looked like they were getting back together. Things worked out. I spoke to the wife and she was like, you know, we're gonna make this work. Malakai was like, we're gonna make this work. And then all of a sudden the cryptic messages went away and everything was lovey-dovey and we're gonna get this back on and, you know, we back. And then it got worse again, maybe even worse than before. And all I'm hearing is rumors, stories, because certain things was happening. Now, another full disclosure, I'm working with Malakai during the times when these two things happened in the same place. We both worked at the Y. We both worked at this place. I still work there, this place called Kids Creative, and things was happening that ain't supposed to be happening. And at this point, it's pretty much over. It's done. And I'm speaking to the wife and I'm hearing things again that's just like not good, you know? And, you know, as a friend, you're like, what do you say? What do you do? How do you help? How do you pray? And I'm talking to Malakai, he's giving and at this point, I think he's coming to a realization himself about what's going on. And, you know, I think for the outside looking in for people who know you or know of you, you know, when you see somebody putting up stuff that relates to domestic violence and domestic abuse and all these other things that's being put out there into the world, and it's just these weird, you know, flares in the air, like, yo, we going to hell with this thing right now, it's bad. Then it's like, what's up? So, let's talk about that time.
Said a lot, man, the mic is loud, bring it down, I'm a preacher, bring it down. I know how to put that. You said a lot. Sitting there listening to you speak, in the beginning you went through all these accolades of how I had this great ascension and I was this guy and I was that guy and I won this award and I shut this down and shut that down. It's funny. I've always wanted to be the guy that was accepted.
Same here. I feel you.
Coming into ministry at 15, 16, I've been doing this for half my life. I'm 30, I just turned 30. And I've been doing this since I was 15. Rapping out here. And when I came into this thing, I came in standing next to the two nicest rappers ever. And I say this and anytime an interview I go through or anytime I talk to, any people I talk about, when you see me with the same set. Mm-hmm. Noah, the governor, and my man Donald.
Right.
These are the two nicest dudes you ever met. I put them against anybody as lyricists, as songwriters, as conceptualizers, as artists, as ministers of the gospel. I put them against anybody. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, I was the guy in the group. Anybody watch wrestling?
Yep.
That's me.
That's ministry.
I was the Jeff Hardy in the group.
Yes.
And not necessarily in popularity, but he just was all over the place. Like, you don't need to jump off that ladder, Ty.
Yeah.
You don't need to jump on, like, you don't need to step on that pew, bro. We just got here. Like, I was that dude, and I felt like I needed to do something to stand out, to be noticed, because I was standing next to these two juggernauts. And I say that all to say is that even in the time that I was ascending, I was ascending. I was questioning, like, dang, I gotta rap against Chris. I gotta rap against Chris, Elijah Miguel, Conquest. What you doing for? Like, these dudes got albums out. Nobody know me. I'm from Harlem.
So that was your perception while the outside world had a different perception.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you don't know, like, battling my upbringing and things that I haven't dealt with, traumas that I've never dealt with. When you see me minister, that's my time with God. That's my ability, that's my time where it's like, I'm on the stage for this 15 minutes and you're gonna get, and me and God we gonna Joseph this thing. We gonna wrestle. And I'm not gonna stop till you bless me, but I didn't know I was blessing others. Never realized it. Didn't realize it. And it got to the point where I did realize it when I did Rap Fest back to back. That's when the ego started. Cause I did Rap Fest 11, and then they called me back at Rap Fest 12.
Yep.
And I was like, ain't nobody do Rap Fest back to back.
I'm the man out here.
Hold up. Ain't nobody do Rap Fest back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah.
I hear that.
You know what I'm saying? And I was at a place where it just, I always cared about, are they gonna go ooh and ah to my bars like they do at No? Are they gonna get my style? I don't rap like everybody else. God don't give it to me like everybody else. I got a peculiar anointing. I look different. Are they looking at me because I'm like the Cron Down of Christian hip hop? Anybody that know underground, strong arm steady? Are they looking at me like that?
Ali.
Right.
Everything. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Are they looking at me like that? Or real Christian hip hop heads, are they looking at me as like the New York Deshaun, the Golden Child? He from VA, shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Are you really respecting me as an artist and as a minister? Or am I like the novelty act? Let me put him out there. Give him an opportunity. Or he just warm it up till I get out there.
Oh wow.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't have the confidence in my artistry. I didn't have a confidence in my ministry. I didn't have confidence at all. I lacked confidence altogether. And on stage and in interactions with others, that was the facade. Because KAREEM was broken. Malakai the Truth was the alter ego. So when you see me on stage, yeah, I'm Malakai. I'm nice. That's Malakai. That's the one I created. Because if you really got to meet KAREEM is sitting in his room, writing in his book. KAREEM is by himself. KAREEM ain't talking to nobody. KAREEM is like A Boogie from Paid in Full. Don't nobody know my business. Don't nobody know nothing I'm going through. Don't nobody know what I'm thinking. I'm in the room and you don't even know I'm in the room. You say I walk in the room and I gained all that. No, Malakai walks in the room and gains all that. Ty sits in the back in the corner and just watches and surveys and hopes nobody sees him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you take that, that's one aspect. Then we get to the marriage. A marriage is a union before people and God.
Right.
A marriage is something that you make a commitment to someone else and you take vows. And you take vows with the understanding that you both are going to uphold both of them. That it's going to be genuine, that it's not going to be for show. And it was that in the beginning. It was that.
When did it change?
In marriage, it was that. It changed when we upheld the golden rule for everyone else, but we never prayed together. How do we have a marriage when we don't pray together?
Come on. Amen.
How do we have a marriage when we don't communicate? How do we have a marriage when everybody else is in our business? And everybody else meaning my friend, our immediate friends.
Yeah.
How do we have a marriage when there's no trust? Some self-inflicted, I take responsibility for that. And some of it because it wasn't there because there's traumas on both sides that were never dealt with. So therefore, like Gage, if I'm exposed to pornography, to womanizing, to this all my life, that's all I see. I got uncles that, listen, we got that game. Got that game over here, you know?
Right.
And I say it like that because that's how I was raised, but
Other people look at me like, dang, how you can talk like that? Because that's the mindset I was raised in. Like, listen, you got it. You go get it, son.
Taught game from an early age.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, when God is not in a marriage, it falls. Plain and simple. Now, if you want to dig deeper, they say the gifts of God are given without repentance. So when we come together and we're on stages, or we're out feeding the homeless, or we're ministering to other people, or we're counseling other people, but we're not doing the things that we're telling other people to do. You know what I'm saying? It got so real. It got so real, and I know this is real, that my best friend came to my house. Came to my house, knocked on the door, came upstairs. He knew what was going on because he was close. He was even closer than you. And he said, yo, a demon just came to me while I was at work. And I was like, what? Because I'm still on my, yo, listen, I'm good, man. Listen, I'm Malakai the Truth. I got this, B. Just did Rap Fest twice back to back. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding down hip-hop church. Everybody left. I'm the one that's rapping. I'm the one that's preaching. I'm the one that's doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding down the youth pastor job. I'm the man right now. I'm killing features. I'm on 3 songs of the I'm a Christian mixtape. I did the joint with a million and Satan. I killed Satan on notice. Like, come on. I got this. You talk about demon talk to you. Whatever, be you good. I'm over here. And he said, I got your mans. And that's when it got real. I said, so a demon came to you and told you that I got your mans? And you next? Wow. So fast forward. Things fall apart because there was an honesty there. Things fall apart because I wasn't honest. I had trauma that I had pre-marriage, that I brought into a marriage, that I wasn't willing to deal with or work through with my spouse, so therefore it spilled into the marriage. But it had peaks and valleys because during this time, we had my son. 24 years old, I had my first son. And it's a boy? Son? Can't tell me Malakai the Truth. And I got a son now? They ain't telling me nothing. So the time when they say, you know how some women say, a baby ain't gonna keep no man, or a baby don't fix a relationship, it don't. It don't.
Wow. It does not.
It don't. Because my focus was, my sanctuary was my job and my kids. So every time you see me rap, I have my kids with me. Because that's my life. I was able to excel at Harlem Children's Zone, go to the Y, kill at Kids Creative. Because my job and my work was my place of release.
Sanctuary.
Because at work, I was Mr. Ty. Nobody ever got to meet Ty Kim unless you got 10 years in. There's only a handful of people that know Ty Kim Stallings. Everybody else knows Mr. Ty, Malakai, Mal, this one, Pastor Ty, whatever. Y'all know that. Or at that time, they knew that.
Right.
But then, here's the game changer again. We have the marriage that's great, going well, but then begins to show signs of fading and falling away. But because I'm in ministry, not just rapping, I'm a preacher. I've been preaching since I was 18. So some of us that know how preachers are, we got images that we got to uphold. Oh, you can't tell me that you are preaching, you have marital issues? Minor or major? Nah, we good. I make sure she got the hat, make sure my cufflinks is right, make sure my kids got the haircut, they know when to sit down, amen, hallelujah, all right, come on, I'm doing. Pastor Ty is doing the revival this week, amen, all that. We knew that, everything was great.
I kind of talk about it in the song. That just the whole idea of like, you know, you're in this position, the expectancy is to be what people perceive you to be.
The expectation took over the realization of what the reality was in the situation. But the turning point in the marriage that enhanced everything that was either minor, minute, or on mute was when I realized that I had bipolar disorder. My son was just born. I began to have racing thoughts. I began to deal with insomnia. I began to spend money crazy. I began to, my porn addiction went from just watching it every now and then, whatever, to just going. To now, I'm having auditory hallucinations where I'm hearing people tell me, nah, you ain't nothing. You ain't good enough. Leave her. Leave the kids. Like, yo, I've been going with, in the mental health arena, they call it mania. I didn't know that. I didn't know none of this at the time. And the thing that pushed it over was, we got into an argument. I was waiting in the stairwell. Somebody told, I didn't sleep for 2 days.
Right.
I didn't sleep for 2 days. I was up. And I was sitting in the stairwell, and something came over me, and we got physical. First time in my whole life ever got physical with a female. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like agitated. It just happened. From there, I got arrested. From there, I went to Psychiatric Institute. And this is when it got hard. Because I had to accept that there was something wrong with me.
Amen. That's when it changed.
After being born with albinism, after being diagnosed with a learning disability, after growing up with ADHD, and having to accept growing up something wrong with me. Now you tell me at 24, when I just dropped my Welcome to the Truth. Now I just did my video. I'm youth pastor at my church. I'm leading hip hop church. I'm rapping all over the place. I did Rap Fest 2 times. I just had my son. I'm married. You gonna tell me now I got bipolar disorder too? Nah, son. That's when the denial hit.
Right.
So I'm in the hospital, and I've been there for almost a whole month. Now this is the funny part. And I say it's funny in retrospect. My pastor never came to come see me. Not one time. The people...
And he was fully aware of what's going on.
100% aware. Never came to see me.
Why do you think that was?
It's an image, you never, right?
The reason why he gave me was, I didn't want to see you in that light, in that predicament, or in that place.
That's the time you should be seen.
I don't want to be seen in that light, you know what I mean?
And so for me, that showed me again, like, that further solidified what was wrong with me in the first place. So I got to get up out of here to get things right. So I half did what I was supposed to in the hospital. I went to every meeting. I was working out. I was reading. I was doing all I needed to do. I gained all information about whatever I had to do to get out of there.
Kind of like to beat rehab, in a way.
Yep. I spent time in there. In straight jackets, I spent time in the quiet room. I spent time on medication that had me feeling like I was a zombie. I was in there and nobody, and the funny thing is my friends didn't know. My friends was there prior, when I was on the top of my roof, on my building, getting ready to jump off. When I jumped in the Harlem River that's down there, and nearly drowned, and this was February, where I had hypothermia over half of the bottom half of my body. This was real.
Can we go back a little bit?
Yeah, we can go back.
You mentioned, for somebody who, again, if you've ever seen Malakai perform, he does not do the fabulous type of performance. He actually moves around and rocks out. What was it like to go from that to being in a straitjacket?
From that to it made me mad. It made me mad because it's like I worked so hard to create this new identity. All my hard work is done. They really not gonna love me no more. Cause once they hear this, ain't nobody gonna wanna be around me. I'm gonna be a real leper. Oh, and what happened? I came out, rumors started spreading, and nobody wanted to talk to me. Some people reached out, but for the most part, this is where it got bad because I didn't have confidence in my community. I created this Malakai the Truth guy. I'm supposed to be this guy. I'm supposed to be this man. I'm one of y'all. So nobody reaches out to me. And those who reach out to me, it's like, all right, cool. We just want to make sure you're all right. And I'm so paranoid that I don't know how to open up and say, yo, nah, I'm really messed up right now. Like, before you called me, I just heard a voice that said, yo, you can't bleed. You can't die. Yeah. Go in there. Yeah. Burn the house down. You ain't nothing. You thought your little character was going to save you, was going to pull you out of your depression? You ugly. You can't make it. She don't care about you. Just go out there. Listen, I got somebody down the block. I got somebody over here. And these were situations that I was going through. And at the time, she was scorned and hurt. But at the same time, she was aware of the condition that I was diagnosed with. And I got resentment because I felt like I was trying to do the best I can with what was given to me, but I didn't have the help from the person that was right next to me.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
So with that said, so you're in this place, you get out, you know, obviously I'm privy to what's going on now, just stay with me. But at some point you get
Oh, no, wait, you're going too far.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Because I got out, and before I was with you, I was in 145th Street Park right there on the baseball. That's where I was living. I was staying out there, right on the bench, right on the bleachers, and I would get up at 6 in the morning just to make sure I took my son to school because I didn't want them to know nothing was going on with their father. So I would get up, go there, I would go pick them up from school after work, bring them home, stay in the living room, stay away from her, stay away from everybody, then put them to bed and leave, and go to sleep in the park. Police coming, yo, you gotta leave, so I'm just walking home. And then if I got tired, I was like, all right, I'll get on the 1 train, or I get on the 8 train, because I know it's the longest train. Yeah. I go from 207th all the way down to my Ave, I can't remember. Yeah, my Ave, and back. 2-3 times.
Killing time.
You know what's crazy too is not to cut you, it's just that I was one of those dudes, Malakai, and I'm gonna be real, you know. When I was being the person that I was hiding in throughout all this and trying to show off and being this great minister, I was seeing your post. And I was seeing when you was keeping it real and saying, you know, this is what I'm doing, this is what I was facing, and you was telling your truth. And I was sitting there saying, what's this dude doing? He's embarrassing himself, he's embarrassing us. Yep. I'm keeping it 100. Yep. But when I got to that moment, I appreciated every minute that you did that, bro, because you see, the truth really does set you free. And when you're able to be, so when him and I are able to put these records out and say this, you have to understand that we are free now. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna say this if we weren't free. Trust me, I would not come in front of all of y'all still having this porn addiction. Trust me, I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. So when I say for 2.5 years, I've been free of all of that. So that's where you didn't see me, because I finally got to know Christ and I was with him. So I just wanted to just say that, just to show him that, bro, you know, and then when I started to come out, then he reached out to me because he knows my pain. And he didn't, you know, and when he told me, yo, bro, I'm shocked that you put this record out, but I'm with you. I felt the love that I really wanted to feel from the people we were looking to feel it from, but only he can understand that because he been there.
Why were you shocked that he put the record out?
I was shocked because, like he said, everybody that did reach out was like, yo, you gotta take it off of Facebook. Don't take it off of Facebook. What you mean, bruh? This is all I got. I'm not a one like, yo, my man's just sitting right there. We nearly 20 years best friends in this thing. He know I ain't gonna tell nobody nothing. I ain't telling nobody, I ain't asking you for help. Nope. He know me, I'm gonna go, listen, I'll tell you right now, straight up, 100. We in college together. We in South Carolina, Rock Hill.
Okay.
We ain't got no jobs. We ain't got no money, no nothing. Okay. He talk about we gonna pray, God gonna give us something. I said, you pray, I'm gonna make it happen. Knock at the door. He opened the door. Hey, yo, help me with this stuff, yo. I'm just coming from Walmart. I got mad food, yo. We about to eat. We good right now. We gonna pray later. So that's the mindset. That's the type of person I am. That's the type of person I come from. Like, yo, I'm not gonna tell you nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna deal with it myself. And everybody doesn't know how to ask for help or ask for help the same way.
Right.
So my bleeding on Facebook wasn't me just bleeding just to talk. I wasn't trying to get likes or smiley faces or hearts. I was trying to get you to help me.
Exactly.
That was me saying, yo,
Help
help me.
Help me, right.
And the inbox dry, the phone dry. Oh, I'm praying for you. Bro, you know you ain't praying for me. I mean, if you is, like, you know where I'm at.
Do you think that, again, based on the I'm gonna use the word facade.
That's what it was, bro.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay, so based on the facade, right? Do you think it was just a situation where people just did not know how to react?
Some people, I really believe it. In retrospect, some people didn't know how to react to it. Some people didn't know how to react to it, and like I was angry for a while. I was angry for a while because I'm like, yo, there's some people who probably went through similar stuff that I went through, or know resources, or know what I can like point me in a direction, but nobody was saying nothing. So I tried to make it on my own, and it pushed me and her further and further away. It pushed us to a point where I was like, had to come stay with you. Then I can't. After I leave you, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best. But it got worse and worse because one, I didn't accept the clinical. I didn't accept that I had bipolar disorder.
Right. There was that too.
I was like, nah, ain't nothing wrong with me, baby. Like, chill, ain't nothing wrong. We got this. We got this. And I excelled in the areas that I excelled at because those were my comfort zones. So the later and later it would take to get home. You see me on the gram. Well, the gram wasn't really out there like that. You see me on the book with my kids. We ice skating. We doing this because my kids. That's my life. That's my lifeline. That's the only thing that kept me going back the 142nd every single day. Because every morning I'm like, yo, if this train go a little faster, I'm gonna jump in front of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So hold that for a second, because there's still a lot to get to. We'll leave it at that. But I wanted to bring it back to you. So you're in a place where now you're trying to see, even though you're in denial about your bipolar disorder, you're trying to make it happen with your wife again.
Honestly, no. That's not even what's happening. What I was trying to do was, I was trying to be there for my kids.
So when you got back,
because the arrest messed me up. I lived 25 years as a black man in New York and never got arrested. Did I break the law? Yeah. But never got arrested. Never went to the bookings, never had to worry about, never had my picture taken, never sat, and never experienced that.
It was humiliating.
So it wasn't humiliating, it was for me that I was raising 2 black sons. And this is post Sean Bell. And even though I put it on myself, I don't know what the school was teaching. I don't know what they were noticing or what they were gathering or what they were cognizant of, but they know this, my black dad is in jail now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, dang, I let my kids down. I let my son down because now he may think it's okay to be in jail. Since I'm his hero, it's like, all right, cool. My dad went to jail, so let me try.
Okay. So hold that for a second. Let's put it on a pause. All right, so Gage, so you're realizing you, out of the 19 years that you've been saved, 17 of those weren't really saved years for you. Last 2, yeah. 17 prior, not really. So you realize that you have this situation, and you're married now. So obviously you guys are not together. Walk us through that. Because you know, it begs questions like, did you try to work it out? What started it? What did she notice? What made the whole thing just explode?
Well, I mean, you know, one thing that I've come to realize, you know, the most important thing that I've come to realize is that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, as the word says. So my fight wasn't against my wife. My issue was against the enemy himself, and that's Satan himself. You know what I mean? And you know, so it started from since I was a kid.
Right.
So what Malakai said is very important, especially for men. We really have to understand that we need to go back and check where all this started from.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times, us as men, we have pride issues where we feel like, you know, like if we get a broken arm, we go to the doctor and we try to get it fixed. But we don't go to the brain doctor. And we don't realize that there's issues going on in here too. And
We don't talk to therapists, we don't
do therapy, we don't, so I actually, so to get to where you was trying to, just to get to, in the midst of all the marriage, throughout the marriage, you know, I'm serving Christ and I'm going to church and she's following behind me and just doing whatever I was doing because I didn't really feel like she had a real relationship with Christ. She just did what David did. And she felt like, you know what, David has she knew who I was back in the day, and she knew that I've changed from then. So she was saying, well, wait a minute, for David to change, we know something must be good here. So she came to Christ in that aspect. And she was going to church with me, we're going to church, and, you know, but we're fighting all the time. Now, mind you, like I said, let's be real, we were intimate before marriage. So automatically starting in fornication gave that marriage no shot. Like I said, we fight. We're not fighting people, we're fighting demons. So if you allow that demon in your house from the beginning, then you had no shot from the beginning. So this is what I had to come to realize. Now, what got me here? As we can go deeper than that. What got me here is the porn and everything that I did and all the fornication I did before I got with one woman. So I was accustomed to more than one visually as well as physically, and then I thought that I could be able to be content with one after. Not happening. So, with that being said, I came into the marriage feeling, okay, I'm going to give up this porn addiction the minute I get into this marriage, and I wasn't able to do it as much as I wanted to do it. So I was still getting my issues going back and forth where when she wasn't home, I'm still watching and doing things, and I'm trying to be this man of God, and I'm like, okay, I'm not physical with any other woman, but everything is visual, and, you know, and I'm not, you know, all of a sudden from there went to emotional affairs, where, you know, you get the other preacher or you get another woman of God that hits you up and saying, well, I really like the way you do things and I need some advice and help me out.
Yeah.
So you start helping out. Now remember, now like we said, men are visual, women are verbal. So you got the gift of gab, so I'm talking and they're saying, hey, well, you talk better than the guy I'm talking to or even my husband.
Yep.
So now I'm having verbal conversations with somebody I'm not supposed to be having verbal conversations with. And then all of a sudden now the verbal conversations I'm supposed to have with my wife start to cut short.
Mm-hmm.
So then I come home real quick and I'm saying, hey, hon, how you doing? She goes, you want to watch a movie? No, I'm good. And I'm walking inside because I got 5 conversations going on. And I'm doing it in the name of God. Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm realizing my house is falling apart and I'm not even noticing it because I'm trying to help everybody else's house out. So I'm talking to this one here and telling you what you need to be doing with your husband, and this one you need to be doing with your boyfriend, and this one I need to be doing. And I'll be real with you, with women, they feel like, okay, well, you gave me so much, let me give you a little. So that's when they start to throw the inappropriate conversations in. And now conversations start to get a little inappropriate, and you're wondering, why are we here? How do we get here?
So fast.
So fast. So they say, well, let me just throw you a bone so I can make sure I can keep you around when you talk, when we want to talk. So that's how that started to happen. And so all the time I'm thinking, my wife just don't get it. She just don't understand what she has here. She don't know that she has this man of God here, not knowing that I'm wrecking my marriage. And she told me that divorce wasn't an option. So when it got to the point where she said, I'm tired, I can't do it anymore, she said to me dead in my face, David, I'm not in love with you anymore, I want out. That's when the curtain opened. And I'm like, wow, what? And like I said, everything is built. So that was built as well. So I'm sitting there saying, well, what? My pride kicks in. Well, then if you want out, then I will never touch you again. And then I leave out of the house and I go to my father's house and I'm like, it's over with. I don't even care. You do whatever you want to do. And then that's what I'm like, and I'm slamming the remote control. And I'm like, God, she told me that divorce was never an option. And he told me, you made it an option. Because when you made that vow, you didn't make it to those people that you're talking to behind your back. They're not the people that's washing your clothes. They're not the people that's sitting there laying with you at night. They're not the one that's going to help you if you have to go in the hospital. You sitting there being a husband to too many people, and you just don't have it in you to be able to do that. So I had to understand that just as much as a man wouldn't want his wife dressing any way in front of any man, she only wants it for him. It's the same way a wife wouldn't want her husband talking to no other woman any way but the way he's supposed to be talking to her.
It's intimacy.
It's called intimacy. And then I started to understand that lies build walls.
Right.
So I never knew that neither. So I'm sitting there saying, well, why is there walls being built in my relationship? I come to realize because I was lying. So you got to understand that the most important thing that Malakai and I come to understand here is this word of God works if you put it into play. And it also works against you when you don't. So when we started to realize, wait a minute here, like everything that I'm doing, so that's when I remember Malakai, mind you, the same person I'm sitting there saying he's bugging out, I remember saying, wait a minute, I remember he went online and he told everybody what he needed to do. And then God said to me, that's what you need to do. So I went back to every ex-girlfriend that I had that I cheated on. I told them I cheated on them. I told them everything that I did wrong. And every person I told the truth to, I felt demons just coming off me.
Man.
Because like he said, you tell the truth, it will set you free. I stand before you right now, no secrets.
Amen.
Everything that I said on that record happened. My ex-wife knows all about it. She heard the record. Me and her are friends up to this day. Because God is faithful to his word when he says you tell the truth and it will set you free. So that's what set me free. I went back. I talked to all my exes who I did wrong. I was speaking to one ex and I said, listen, I did you wrong. She said, are you dying or something? And you know what God said to me is that's the messed up thing about us men. We got to wait till we're dying before we tell the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I said to her, you know what? I'm actually living. I was dying all the other time, but I'm actually living. So like I said, porn free, masturbation free, visual issues free, emotional affair free for over 2 years.
Amen, bro.
But then, you know, obviously this year you dropped this new song. How cathartic was that for you? Like, what space were you in? Like, when did you know what, it's time for me to record, shoot a video, put myself out there? When did you know? Because sometimes people come from situations like that and they jump out there way too soon. It's like, it's not the time. You still got some healing to do. You still got some other things that you yet to do. You know what I'm saying? And especially as performers, the lure of the stage, the lure of having a platform, the lure of just like the adulation. But you shut yourself down for so long, but then you got back out.
Well, obviously we all know that it was the difference when I came out the second time. When you said the lure of the stage, I definitely didn't want to lure the stage coming out saying it all started with porn. Trust me. Knowing that I was putting my whole
that was your
life.
first line.
You know what I'm saying?
Rip.
So,
it all started with porn.
So let's keep it real. And I said that was my first wife. Super superficial or visually torn life. Erotic imagery, what harm could it cause? 30 years later, still trying to close doors. So there's no way in the world I came back out here to tell y'all that so I could be the greatest entertainer in the world. That's not the truth. It took a lot for me to turn around and tell y'all my truth. But what I did was, I realized truth sets you free. And if you're my family in Christ and I love you, I need to let you know that you need to do the same. Because if you're stuck in lies, it will destroy your relationships. It doesn't have to only be your marriage. Your relationships, period. Freedom is so big in truth, you know what I mean? So that's why I came back out. I did the record. God said to me, yo, right now, I'm telling you, I'm talking about 2 years of therapy. I've been going to therapy every month. I've read every countless book, you know, from Every Man's Battle on down. I read women's books because I wanted to understand what makes them tick and what it's about intimacy on the woman's side. I realized that love is not a feeling, it's a choice. So I started to realize that every time I felt like what I wanted to do, I had to shut feelings down. Feelings will destroy you. So I had to understand that I can't live my life and love somebody through feelings. I had to understand that love is a choice. So I chose to do the right thing. I fought like crazy to get my wife back after I realized that. I realized what brought my marriage down. She had her setbacks. She did things that I'm not going to get into because it's not my business to tell you guys. That's on her if she decides to. But I'm saying, as being the spiritual leader in the house, I let the mouse in the house. And once I let him in, I can't determine what he ate. You understand what I'm saying? So whatever fell because I let him in, I'm eating. I'm the spiritual leader in the house. So we can sit there and talk it all day, but if you're ready to live it, then let's live it. So what I'm saying at this point, I had to come to, I tried, I fought, I cried, I begged, I stopped with, I tried not the divorce to happen. I didn't sign the papers for a month. I did everything that I could do. I went to my lawyer and said, okay, you could just, I'm gonna sign it, but just don't put it in. She said, no, it's either you're gonna sign it or you're not. I said, okay, I'm not gonna sign it. I met back up with my ex-wife again. She said, I want you to sign it. Because she was done. That moment, she said, see, we gotta understand as men, the done was starting with her 2 years prior. Women just don't walk out the first day they feel it.
No.
They've been feeling that
For a
all
minute.
the time. You understand what I'm saying? So when it finally got to that point where she was done, it was already done. So it was nothing that I could do. So I tried, I fought, I did everything I can. So at this point in time, I waited until my divorce was final, and it finally was. And as of right now, I'm just waiting on God to see what's my next step. I put out the record. I let everybody know what happened. My brother reached out to me. My bond with him is a lot different than it ever was because I could actually feel his pain and I know where he went. And I appreciate it. I mean, man, he hit me up right away when the record came out. I'm going to tell you this as a brother. A lot of my brothers in Christ did not reach out to me after this record. I'm sitting there wondering what happened. Like, this dude's really liking this record? And I'm hearing behind the grapevine days, people are kind of bugging on you. Like, the same thing where I felt that we was bugging on Malakai. Well, you can bug all you want. You know, it's either you're going to stay in your sin or you're going to come free.
And where do you think that comes from? Just the fact that people just feel like repelled and they want to stay away. Because you would think, especially, you know, in all the scriptures and all the stories, prodigals are like, we can go through it all.
I can tell you why.
You would think that, you know, the courage for you to even step out on that ledge and say, listen, this is where I was and this is where God took me from. You would think that would be celebrated, embraced.
But remember this, like before he goes, let me say this. Remember what we're saying up here. We would not be coming forth with this if we didn't already, if it wasn't always beaten in our life. So the reason why I didn't come to him is because I was facing the things that he didn't know nothing about.
Just about to say that.
Too close.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, if I come into his light, then my issues may shine.
Exactly, right. We all look the same.
It's like, oh, we in the light.
I'm not telling him nothing. I'm walking over here because he's talking too much.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
He's snitching.
But, you know what I mean? So then, if I go to Malakai, then they're going to be like, well, if you Malakai boy, then what's up with you?
Thanks.
And then I can't hide my issues no more. And then so it's the fear of exposure is what I felt. Because when I exposed, a man who already exposed stepped to me in a minute and was like, bro, now that you dropped that record, I think I'm ready to drop my album. And that was the best words I ever had to hear. I'm done. I didn't need to do nothing else. If this man says to me, I wasn't going to do this album until I heard this record, I don't need to do nothing else. That's all I needed to hear. And the amount of emails that I got from there, you cannot believe the amount of people that's battling the stuff that I spoke about.
Oh, yeah.
You have no clue.
So, segueing back to you, we go close back out with Gage in a few, but I want to get that. I don't want to use the time. I don't know how much time we have. But I want to go here forever. Yeah. We could be here for a minute, really compartmentalizing and breaking this down.
It's a lot.
But yeah. So, all right. So I'm gonna help you fast forward. So it looks like things are back to where it was, or it's on its way. But then, you know,
the whole thing was, the main thing is this. It wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't meant to be. That's plain and simple. It wasn't meant to be.
Why?
It wasn't meant to be because I wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. Whether she admits it, I can't speak for her, but you're not ready. When you have prior baggage that you are not willing to unpack together and go through and sort through, it's like spring cleaning. When you come into marriage, I look at it as spring cleaning. Like, you brought your stuff, I brought my stuff, let's go through it. Yeah. Let's see what's salvageable, what needs to get thrown away, what can keep this boat floating, and what's gonna sink it.
Yeah.
And we decided to continue to travel with extra baggage. With baggage that we had and then baggage that we accumulated over time. Amen. So therefore, it wasn't going to work. And then when it goes from me loving you to me hating you and me can't standing to be around you, it's not gonna work. And God had to tear me away from that because one thing, He understands me like He understands all of us, and He knows why our desires are and what we want. And I always wanted a family. from the time I was small, I wanted family.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted the two. I wanted the. And I say it, and I look at it like this when I talk about the people that want to talk to me about what's going on, because I don't care. I talk about it.
Yeah.
I look at it as when everybody found out about Bill Cosby, and I don't say it in means of the sexual allegations, but just like, dang, not America's dad.
Not Bill Cosby.
Like, it was great.
Not the Huxtables.
Right, and that's what I wanted. Like, I tell you, like, when I with my son and now my daughter, like, I'd be watching clips of the Cosby Show to be like, all right, how I'm gonna deal with this situation? All right, Cliff, let me know.
Cliff Notes, for real.
Cliff Notes for real. And so
that's a bar.
And so it's like it wasn't going to work, and because I stayed in something too long, I had to deal with the consequences of staying in something too long. I had to deal with the denial. I can't love somebody else until I love me.
Right.
I can't do anything. Now, children are something different because they're innocent. Even when they do things that are quote-unquote wrong or bad, the forgiveness of them is easy because they're innocent. They came in with innocence. You chose to get into a marriage. You chose to get with a boyfriend. You chose to get with a girlfriend. You didn't ask to have these kids. So therefore, when I have my kids and I'm with my kids, it's like that's my thing. You want to mess with me? Mess with my kids. You know what I'm saying? But in regards to that and that season of my life, it wasn't destined. Like when you seen the anointing or you seen things happen, those were glimpses of what was if there was maturity present.
Man. Right.
Wow.
And because there weren't on both sides, you had to deal with the consequences of mistakes, lies, bad choices, whatever the case may be. It comes with the lack of maturity. Why do children, and why do we do so many reckless things in our youth? Because we lack maturity. And just because I can articulate right, or just because I can say the right words, or I can preach this, or I can do that, that doesn't mean it's Bible.
Right. That's right.
Or just because he was saved for 18 years, that doesn't mean that he was delivered.
That's right. That's
right.
So the problem is,
can you say that
you
again? Wait, hold on. We need a break. We need a break. Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Because we need to marinate on that. Say that again, bro.
Just because you're saved, that doesn't mean you're delivered. And you want to know why the marriage didn't work? Because we weren't delivered. We were not delivered. I was not delivered. I understood Savior because I had the damsel in distress syndrome. Oh God, I'm going through. Oh God, I need your help. Oh God, swoop down and bring your angels.
Savior instead of Lord.
Give me that. But Ty, you need to stop. Ty, you need to be honest. Ty, you need to walk upright. Ty, you need to live like I'm telling you. Nah, chill, I'm Malakai the truth. You ain't telling me what to do.
I did Fat Fest back to back.
Exactly.
I did it. I think I did it twice too. No, I'm just kidding.
I did the research, bro. I'm the one.
Now they do back to back. Yeah, I think I'm about to.
Just reel it in, fellas. Just reel it in.
But that's what happened. That's exactly where we at. And that's why a lot of us are going through what we're going through, because we have salvation. And like when you accept him, you accept him.
Yeah.
We can't take your salvation from you, but there's another step. It's because I'm delivered.
Amen.
That's deliverance. Why? Because I spent 90% of my life hating my mother. I spent 10 years of my life not knowing where my father is and not caring because he walked out on me. But now, I have a relationship where I talk to my mother every day.
Amen.
I have a relationship where me and my father are building on father and son. Where I don't look at him as, I'm sorry. No, I can't even say it. I'm not even going to do that because y'all like that. I don't look at him as another nigga on the street. And that's straight up. Because that's when we first reconnected, that's how I looked at him. That's exactly how I looked at him. If something happened to him, oh well. That's you, B. Should have been there. Maybe I wouldn't be doing what I was doing or whatever because if you was there. Why do I have a problem with authority? Because there was no man there to show me what's what.
Right, come on, man.
But now it's like, nah, that's my pops.
Right, come on, it's real.
That's my father. You want to know why I'm so ill with this music? It's because from 1 to 10, 2, 3 in the morning, we sitting there listening to Stylistics, Blue Magic, Switch, this, all that. You wanna know why I get it?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Right.
But that's deliverance.
I heard someone say too, Andy Stanley, I've been looking at him a lot too, man. He be breaking stuff down. But he said there's no such thing as a relationship problem. It's people come into relationships with problems.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what you're saying. That's what you're actually saying. We come into relationships with problems, and the biggest thing in relationships that kills it is me. And love don't seek its own. Right. So the minute you start to point love at you when it wasn't designed to be pointed at you, that's when problems start.
Copy. So, you mentioned the reconnection with your father and your mother, for that matter. And you talked about your love of family and the desire to have family.
That's right.
You know, you already were, when I met you, you were 2 sons that were like 2 boys that was like in your care.
That's right.
Since moving on from your last relationship, you've had a child recently.
Yes, right? I know you watching because I know you ain't sleep.
You have a daughter, and even that is an hour-long story in itself.
I can make it short real quick.
Yeah, talk to me about that. And that holds, not the whole thing, but just as much as you would like to share.
My family is amazing to me. My family is amazing. I have an amazing fiance. An amazing fiance. If she's watching, hey Ray, love you. Hey little Ray, love you too. We had a daughter. We had a daughter this past July, but it wasn't like we had a daughter. Our daughter was born at 24 weeks. She spent 117 days in the NICU. She had 2 laser eye surgeries. She had what's called a ligation, which is like somewhat like an open heart surgery. She was born at 1 pound 6 ounces. And so that whole situation, that whole ordeal comes, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, this comes after she was pregnant and she had preeclampsia. She had severe preeclampsia, and she was going to die. It was her, they was telling her, it was you or the baby. Now mind you, while she was hearing this, I was coming back from the island. Because of the estranged relationship that I had with my ex. We have an order of protection or whatever the case may be, and it was violated in a way that was untrue, unfounded, and I got arrested.
Again.
I got arrested again. While incarcerated this time...
I did not even know that.
Yeah, nobody knew. While incarcerated this time, anybody seen Shawshank?
Yeah.
The sisters nearly got to me. What that means is I almost got sodomized. When I say almost, this close. I got released. I came back home. I looked at my phone. My phone was blown up. I call her. I'm back home. What's up? I'm in the hospital. What you mean? I go to the hospital. They telling me her pressure's so high that she could die, or she could go into have a seizure or go into a coma. The baby could not make it. Now, mind you, I'm already in a situation where my ex and I separated, been separated. We've been in court fighting for my son. I've been besmirched online stating that I'm not a great father, where I've had to go in front of people who don't know me and don't know that the 2 sons you mentioned, one wasn't mine, but nobody knows that the older one isn't mine. But I've raised him since a year and a half. And no one knew that. Someone just found out that, oh, I thought he thought that was yours. Because that's how I moved. But now you're going to tell me that my daughter could die and her mother could die? Now, mind you, I was at a place where we weren't married. We made this choice. And now I'm thinking, dang, God, I'm living right. I'm doing what I got to do. I slipped up or whatever the case may be. Now you're going to kill? Which I feel is great to me? Nah, it wasn't that. Because my daughter got me praying. So now I see my son every week. He has a relationship with his sister. I'm at a place where I'm growing, I'm building. So much is happening. With my daughter now, the 1 pound 6 ounce baby is 16 and a half pound baby. She's a fat little thing. If y'all want to see pictures before I leave, I show them, because you know, I'm giggly about her. She got me. You know what I mean? But
don't just do that to the fathers.
Yeah,
just
man.
For the record.
But it's an amazing thing how God just took me through this, because I wasn't supposed to be here. I walk around with the scars from body mutilation. I walk around with the scars. I got a tat that covers up the scar where I bleed it out, and I walked from Rock the Bronx to Harlem. My last day at Rock the Bronx, I went in the bathroom and walked. You know where we worked. From there to Harlem. Because I knew my heart rate would beat up, so the blood would flow faster, and I would drop somewhere where nobody would find me.
Mind you, where we worked together, that's by Parkchester, by the 6 train, so do the math.
So from Parkchester to here. And the funny thing is, all I had was a little bit of blood. And it wasn't like a little bit, like nothing happened. Never passed out, never nothing, never did none of these things. When I jumped in the river, I thought I was going to drown. Didn't drown. When I took a whole bunch of pills, when I set a fire in my house, because we had an argument, and she said something. I was telling people, I was like, yo, I don't want to be here no more. And somebody said, real people who tell us, or people who gonna kill themselves don't tell nobody. I said, oh, you want to play? Okay. Cool. And it took my grandmother and my great uncle banging down my door to see it, a whole cloud of smoke. I tell you how much the fire was in my house that I started, that the whole walls were covered. They were white, and then they were gray because of the amount of smoke that was in the house. I had to go in a hyperbaric chamber because of the smoke inhalation. Still didn't die. So when you hear songs like Truth Interrupted, when I say, people tell me that where brothers put the period, God calmed the conversation. That's what God did. The 6 years I've been going, or the years that you see me going through, God just He interrupted time and gave me time to catch up. It took me 6 years, but He gave me time to catch up. Because I was at a place where it's like, if certain things happen, and people say, nah, you shouldn't say that, or you should take responsibility. Never in these 6 years have I ever passed the buck.
That's right.
And anybody that's had a conversation with me, I own up and said why, or the reasoning behind my decision making, or whatever happened.
Right.
But I've never passed the buck. I've never blamed nobody else. I never did nothing. I took my lickings. I did my time. I did all that.
That's right.
Spent time away from my son, had my son thinking that his father was a monster and afraid of me because of things that other people said, or other things that people have seen, and whatever the case may be. To rebuilding a relationship where my son wants to be a preacher, my son wants to be a rapper, and understands that God is real because of what he's experienced himself, and his own testimony is amazing. Where I have a daughter who's just amazing. Where I have a fiance who now, we came in saying, yo, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I've been done. This is what I'm known. She didn't know nothing about Malakai. She knew KAREEM. And as she got to know KAREEM, I got to know KAREEM. And so, therefore, when you see my Facebook page, it's KAREEM Malakai Stoneman. Malakai is just somebody, it's just what I do, not who I am anymore.
Which is very key. Very key. Yeah, it's funny, y'all did.
I ain't got one of them names that you can switch. Like, I can't switch my drink from Andy Mineo to like, nah, KAREEM, nah, that's not marketable. It's a little ethnic.
It's funny because someone asked me that at Central Park. They was like, Gage, so when did God bring you back? And I said he didn't. He rebuilt me. So the bottom line is that's the name of the new album, is Rebuilt, because he didn't bring back Gage. Gage is dead. He died at Death Did His Part. I'm trying to make. And David Veira lives now.
So let's segue into that, because I know we got to wrap, and I want to kind of like get into where we are in the present. So great that you mentioned. Is that an exclusive? Because I've never heard that before. So it's Rebuilt. Is that where we're going? Is that where we're traveling towards? Okay, so let's talk about that. And also, this other hobby that you've taken on, which I feel is more than just a hobby. I think it speaks to everything that you've been trying to rebuild with yourself.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, well, I've been doing MMA fighting and stuff like that. It's so crazy. There's this C1 MMA class that I have downtown Brooklyn that I started to go to. And during the time, like, you know, because I went into that class and I was just like, and you know, God always sets things up. You never realize how he's setting it up.
Right.
Because there's this girl in the class that actually happens to be my partner. And as soon as I started the class, she said, I'm going to be your partner for the rest of this time that you're here. And I'm like, why is that? Like, and every day we're partners whenever we're training. And it happens to be Sally, the director for Deaf Did His Part. So every time.
Did you know she was a videographer beforehand?
No.
Oh, this is crazy.
So I'm sitting here like, okay, well, I'm just training with this girl, and while we're training, every day we're training, I'm saying, so what do you do, by the way? Oh, I'm a director. Well, you're gonna direct my next video. I sure am.
So crazy right now.
After this part. So that's when I knew that, you know, God has already had a plan going on in my life, and started to realize it. I mean, and thank God for brothers, man. Like, I mean, I would say like my brother who just came in, Marcus Hall. Like, I mean, you know, you talk about people who really have seen you cry, bro. When I say I'm a man,
Amen.
I cried like a baby.
Amen.
I'm talking about for 2 years, I cried. I ain't never cried so much in my life.
Man, bro.
When I say it was pain, when you start to, when all of the soul ties and all of the issues that you dealt with and all that finally comes to the surface, you really feel the pain. And that's why I said pain to make you give up the pride.
Well, speaking of pride, on that, you know, you talk in your story about the fact that, you know, from your peers to the women that you started having intimate emotional connections with, you were the person that they went to. You weren't vulnerable, you were the strong person. You're giving out all this advice. You're telling them what to do even though you weren't necessarily doing it yourself. So how did it feel to go from the man right now to just crying like a baby, being that vulnerable?
I'm gonna tell you, it was the when I was dealing with it, it was the most excruciating pain I ever felt in my life. So it's like when I speak, when you hear Malakai talk about things that he went through, I mean, I was there too. I mean, I wanted to take my life. To be real, I was just like, this is too much pain. Especially when you're a person that really have a heart. And I grew up in a family with really close family, brothers and sisters. So when you start to check yourself and realize you hurt people, it don't feel good when you don't intend to hurt people. You know what I mean? So I started to realize how bad my decisions were affecting other people.
Right.
Just like how Malakai was saying. So when you start to realize that as a man of God, it hurts really bad. So I was dealing with my stepdaughter that every time she came in and said, hey, you want to watch a movie? Hey, you want to hang out? And I was like, nah, I'm good, because I was busy texting 5 different people. When all of this broke, I tried to get her. I said, look, I'll come pick you up every month and we'll go hanging out. And she said, no, I'm good. Man, you went from 0 to 100. I cried like a baby. Because when I started to realize that when I had it all there, I didn't
nurture it.
That's right. I didn't respect it, and I didn't treasure it. So when it was taken from me, I wanted to just give up everything. So all the females, let's be clear, that who I was talking to then, I hit them all up and said, listen, me being a man of God, this was definitely not the way I should have been doing. So I closed all those relationships. I took every female's number out of my phone, and I just dealt with the situation for where, you know, where God led me to. And I just gave total surrender to him. So at this point, you find a man who is totally surrendered, delivered, like my brother said, and, you know, no secrets, no games, no lies. And all I'm at right now is just surrender to God and see where he goes next. So the album will be called Rebuilt, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I think your story was very brilliantly depicted by the sister that you connected with through the MMA fighting. Like, I felt like it really, without it being overdone or undersold, it really told a lot of what you talked about today, you know? Even just the way, like, the the vase broke in the middle, and you're just looking at the mess in the middle of it, and you're like,
still trying to fix it.
Fix it.
And people didn't realize that she's trying to take dead flowers and put it into a vase because we was keep trying to fix what was already dead. And that's what Malakai was saying. Like, we weren't ready. We came into a relationship. That relationship was doomed from the beginning. And that's what I'm trying to say. When you come into it doing it contrary to what God tells you, you doomed. So that's why we had to come to realize that we need to change the way things are being done, and we had to check ourselves. Like he said, when you stop pointing fingers and start checking yourself, things change.
Gotcha. So when should we expect the music? All of it.
Well, I already got a few records already done. You know, I'm in the studio. You know, again, my manager has been very, you know, strong behind me. She knows Tara. She knows everything that went on. All my peoples who do check for me really still continue to check for me. And I mean, I got love for everybody, man. I mean, you know, I've been blessed, man. I mean, God definitely restored me. And I'm just taking it a step at a time. So to be honest, I really don't know exactly. I got a few records already done. And I'm just taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. And I'm just here for anybody that needs that information, or anybody who wants to give me a call and hook me up and say, this right now is, I think my ministry has just begun.
Yeah.
Before I was just a rapper.
Right, and I felt like that's a major reason why I felt like this conversation needed to happen, more than just being an expose, like TMZing it out. Like, it's just like, people can glean from this and really can take from this. Even I'm taking things away from this, even talking to you guys right now. So, Malakai, so we're in the present.
Right.
New baby, new relationship.
Yeah.
Newly rekindled relationship with your kids.
Nah, the relationship always been there.
Yeah.
Relationship always been there.
But just the freedom to have it, you would say.
I would say the access.
Right, the
has
access,
been granted.
yes. That's what I meant.
Because it was stripping.
Right.
It was taken.
So let's talk about the music. Now, before I jump into that, I wanna clarify something. So you released 2 videos. You released a video for Truth Interrupted, and you released a video for Love.
This is when it's getting interesting.
Yes, and you did this with a company.
Yep.
You went through. This was all under the availability of Takeover Records. Headed by Lara, who I know personally, and we spoke about you. Matter of fact, full disclosure. So, when Lara was talking to me about the fact that he took you on as an artist, and you guys were building this thing, I was really excited about the idea. Matter of fact, I was so excited about it. Knowing you, knowing him, knowing what I felt like at the time Takeover could be. Not just, you know, because we're trying to be the next Reach Records or anything, but just like on some, hey, you know, I myself have been independent pretty much all of my career. Right. And, you know, Lara would always talk to me about doing things, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we approached each other and say, yo, let's all do this together under this. You know what I'm saying? Not only just to be part of what Lara was doing, but also to just be, so for someone like me who's been close to you through your situation, somebody that you can count on, not just as a label mate, but just, you know, building that relationship even further and really telling a whole complete story under this whole thing. This is what I was thinking. And every time I would talk to Lara on the phone, I was like, yo, there's something I want to talk to you about, but I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm ready to have that conversation yet. Right. And it just never happened. If you were standing here, you would attest to this. Like, he would always say, Jason got something to talk to me about. You just never had the conversation. But then all of a sudden, as social media has a way of telling you without telling you, that's not the case anymore. The album's coming, obviously. You're dropping records.
The album was always going to come.
It was, yeah. Knowing you, I believe that.
Yeah.
But what happened with that, and how does that
On Rise Up, I gave the politically correct answer. And I'm going to still do the same thing because it's no issues. It's no real issues. But in regards to Takeover Records, I'm no longer with them. I've been away from the game for 6 years. So even people I knew of, I didn't know. Christian hip hop has changed.
It has.
It's changed since 2012, and that's when I was at my peak. We won Grammys. We on MTV. Tony Tone got a radio show.
On Hot 97.
On Hot 9. We got Christian rap battles. Christian battle rappers. wow. So much has changed.
But Crane's doing movies with
I don't know.
with the Lex.
Right.
Superfly.
So much stuff so much has changed, and I didn't know. Like I said, I knew movers and shakers, and I knew names, and I knew people, but I didn't know what their reputations have been, what they have acquired. All I know is this, this is me. This is Malakai the Shambles. This is me. This is what I got to offer. And he reached out to me. I didn't reach out to him. Because there was a thing going around, like I reached out to him, and he made me, he researched Malakai.
No, I can confirm that. I know that story. I know.
He reached out to me. I didn't reach out to him. And I'm not saying that to say anything. I'm just, we here to be real.
Right.
He reached out to me.
You guys did a show.
I did a show.
And
I met Frankie.
Frankie.
He reached out to me a couple weeks later.
Right.
Let's get on, like, I want to work with you. I want to help you. I want to get your story out there. I want to blase blah. And I prayed about it. I talked to my peoples about it. I talked to my pastor about it. Shout out to Russell, really.
Really?
Yeah. I talked to my pastor about it, and he was like, man, listen, it's the time. It's the season. It's time for you got to let the people know what's going on with you and where you are now. And I was like, all right, cool. We're going to move on the situation. Plus, I have bipolar disorder. His father died of bipolar disorder, so he could understand my situation and where I was going from.
Yeah.
So, emotionally, I was there. Spiritually, everything was looking on the up and up. And we went for it, and I was going. We was rocking. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a loyal dude. Like, besides what has ever been said about me or what's been heard, if we rocking together, we rocking together.
Especially in music.
Just in general. Period. Like, if I got it, and I call you my friend, you got it.
Right.
I got some food, I'm gonna get what I need, but I got you. I'm gonna feed you. I got you. I got some bread, we got some bread. That's just how I do. Those that know me, that's how I am.
Right.
So I rep Takeover to the fullest.
You did.
I was like, yo, let's do what we gotta do. My main focus was building my confidence up as an artist. All I wanted to do was live in the studio. And we did that a little bit. He wanted to do videos and things like that, which was great. And we was cool with that. I was like, all right, cool. If you want to do that, let's do whatever. Like, this is my main focus. My main focus is to build me up, my confidence up as an artist so I can get out there and do what I do best. Minister to people. We did that. We dropped Truth Interrupted.
Right. And Love Me Some Me.
And we dropped Love Me Some Me. Love Me Some Me was dropped before I signed. So that song was done before I signed.
I'm talking about the videos, really.
We dropped the visual because that was the main thing. I wanted to tell everybody I love me now. And it's okay to love you. And that was the main thing. That was the catalyst that catapulted me into being delivered, being to whatever I am and all that, because I started loving me. I took my flaws. I didn't care what I looked like. I wasn't trying to rap and be the next dude out of New York. I wasn't trying to be bigger than this. I wasn't screaming right side up because Rich was saying, if it ain't Rich Records, switch records. I wasn't doing that, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't like, and that's no shot at them, but that's the mindset I was in. I was like, son, dudes are saying, switch records. I'm from Harlem, B. I spit bars. You know what I'm saying? Blood Coalition, Joe, they going on tour, we on tour. Let's go. Yeah. And the funny thing was, that whole mindset is with Divided New York. Right. But we'll get into that in May. Shout out to the Revive. Shout out to the Revive.
See y'all.
You know what I'm saying? But it got to a point where I was like, yo, let's go. Let's work. And the idea, I started finding out things about Laro from other people that he didn't know I had relationships with. Because, like it was said, like I've heard said, Laro's the reason why Malakai the Truth is where he is now. Where everybody's anticipating the music. I don't believe that. Some people are anticipating the music, but people are anticipating, or not even anticipating, they're happy to see me. Healthy. Happy. Amen. Right. Alive. Amen.
Right.
They could care less if I was doing music or selling oranges on the freeway.
That's it.
I do truly believe that.
You know what I'm saying? So, for however that rumor started, if he started, whoever started it, he's not the reason for that. God is the reason for why I'm here.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing that sort of broke the camel's back was we were in a situation where we were trying to plan for the new year.
Okay.
And I'm gonna straight up tell him what it is. We had a conversation. He was like, "Yo, we had no paperwork, we worked on just like, yo, let's do this music together. Let's work. Let's do ministry. Because I was like, I told him, I'm not getting with nobody if you want to do business. I've done business. I've done everything. Honestly, I've done everything that I wanted to do since I was 15. When I was 15, I said, yo, I want to do Rap Fest. When I was 15, I said I want to win awards. When I was 15, I said I want to have a hot video. I want to have a successful project. I want to be known. I did all that. Whether it was on a national level or locally, I did that.
Yeah, you did.
At one point, my name rang bells in New York, and it's not because that's not like arrogance. That's not nothing. That's a 15-year-old boy's dream as an artist. That's what I wanted, and I did that. So I didn't care about that. So we had a conversation. And he was like, yo, we gonna sit down, we gonna do the business, you know, get your moms, because you know your mom's been at ASCAP forever, you know, the publishing, da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, cool, let's work. Let's work. Let's do what we gotta do. Then I get a call and he says, nah, we not doing this. God told me that I should have stepped away from music a long time ago. We don't need to be doing this. I need to slow down or I'm gonna step away from music.
Wait, I'm sorry. He's saying that about you?
He said that to me. He just said that after a week before we talk about what we gonna do for the.
No, I'm trying to get the context. So it's like, so he's saying that about your ministry, or is he talking about his own?
He said I'm folding the label.
Yes,
because I want to do a podcast. Even though the week before we had a conversation with the producer, with me, we talking about how we gonna roll out the album, what we gonna do, X, Y, and Z. Even though you know I have hurt from being in a previous relationship with a label, and they just dipped on me because stuff got crazy.
Right. And me and Laro had conversations about him talking about doing a podcast, but I didn't think.
But not only it got crazy when you telling me. We ended the situation and I told him, and I'm just being honest because like I don't do this, but I need to say this because a lot of stuff is going around and people saying certain different things about me, and that's not who I am, baby.
Whatever, man, regardless.
I told homie, I said, listen, I know how the music business work. Do you want any bread for anything? The label put out money to fly to Florida to do the video shoots. The label paid for the videos. Now I had the music already. I was working on music prior. I was here recording. I had half the album done already.
Facts.
Already.
Facts.
And that was on relationships that I already had. And he said, no.
Okay.
Nah, we good, brother. I just want you to pay for the last video. You take care of the cost for the last video. I'm going to give you the videographer's name and do whatever. I did that. I'm going to put it out there. I had a song, the definition that's released now.
Yeah.
The original version of the definition has me and Drew Bex on it. Yeah, RMG. Me, Bex flew. I got Bex to come down from Canada. We did a show in Philly and Pennsylvania together, and I reached out to him, and I had my mans reach out to him, and I was like, "Yo, B, I want to know like what shots. I'm gonna send you some of the shots. Let me know what you want from the video, how you want it to be done, because I know you just got your situation with RMG. I don't want to mess you up, but I'm thankful for you getting on the track." Now, he wasn't aware that me and Laro weren't together. So he naturally reached out to Laro, and Laro told him, nah, we canceling that. Ain't no video going on. So I reached back out to Laro because I'm a Harlem dude that I am, and I'm going to ask him.
So there's no video going on?
I said, what's going on? What you mean? What you talking about? You canceling the video? We had a conversation originally, and you said, take care of whatever. So whatever I do going forward is on me because I'm not with you. And I had the conversation. You said you didn't want no bread. He was like, nah, listen, you don't want to do that. Listen, brother, I'm telling you, listen. And I'm like, bro, I'm not the Christian to threaten. I'm not the Christian to threaten. I tell you.
So he said like, you don't want to do that.
Like, you don't want to do that. That's not what you want to do. That's the conversation we had. We don't want you, like, you don't want to do that, because he was like, listen, I've been thinking, and I want you to pay me back the bread for the video, for the 2 videos I shot. And now, 30 years old, my mom's worked at ASCAP. I know what a work for hire is. I know what publishing is. I know what all of that is. Yeah. So my clear first step was to say, bro, you want any bread from such and such? It's documented. Everything is documented. Your answer, no, is documented. So therefore, just because I tried to make moves without you, and I didn't stay in wild like some other artists who left you, now you want to tell me that you want some bread? No, you're not getting no bread. Because one, legally I'm not contractually giving you money because I don't owe you nothing. And then you want to throw that's the Christian thing to do. The Christian thing to do is stick with the word that you said. If you said we ain't got no, if we just gonna break up and we gonna do whatever you can do, that's the word that you gave. Let your yay be your yay, your nay be your nay. And it wasn't that way. And so the last thing he said to me was, I said, listen, I'm the wrong person to threaten. Don't threaten me. And I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. The videographer, I had a conversation with the videographer. According to him, he said, yo, I was telling you not to work with nobody, telling people not to work with you. I talked to Drew Bex. The reason why the definition went out with just my 2 verses, because Drew Bex said, listen, I don't want to be a part of it, it's too messy. Lau was saying one thing, I don't da-da-da, and I respect him for that.
You can't blame him.
I respect him for that. That's why me and Bex is still cool.
Right.
But me and that man, it's like crazy. He had other conversations with other people, and listen, I built a reputation in New York amongst my peers. So therefore, just because I got with you, you're not gonna mess up relationships that I had already, or that I built already. It's not gonna happen. So I say that all to say, I wish him well, because even though God told him not to do music, he's got a new label. He's got a new logo. He's got a new logo. He's doing music again. He's talking about new artists. And I don't say that facetiously either.
No, you can go on. You can go on.
I'm saying, listen. even though, I'm just saying, even though the brother said that he was done with music and God told him to be done with music and he was disobedient because he signed me.
And you know what?
Listen, that's his thing.
Can I jump in? And the thing is, again, that's why, as you said, when you came back, the music business, because it is a business. Please don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
The Christian music business is a business.
I understand. I understand.
And the thing is, in the midst of that, it's like Gage was talking about building things. Sometimes certain people are not free from things, even in doing business.
Facts.
Because if anybody knows him, he came from a music business himself where he was hurt.
Facts.
And
I'll remind you that.
I don't even have to say the rest of it. So, we keep that situation, keep him in prayer.
Definitely.
Because people are growing, and people sometimes take a little longer to grow, and some people still gotta go through what they gotta go through. Don't be surprised in a year or two, he's sitting down talking about the demons he's dealt with.
Amen.
And how it fell into.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I said that was a lie. I had to get that out. I was waiting for that part of this because I wanted to get that out. But you asked about the new music. The new music, it took 30 years to make this. Plain and simple. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet on this new album. It's a conceptual album. This is the opportunity. This is the first album, the first time I'm writing music that God gave me. I say in the song, I said, what if the body was the body and wasn't just Halloween? I wonder if your pastors and deacons would be. I wonder how your pastors and deacons would be perceived. I wonder how the bars would sound if we wrote what he told us to write and not things that would rock the crowd. I spent so much time trying to stand out and trying to sound like this or sound like that. It took me 30 years to make this music, to make this album. So this album has everything from, if you listen to Truth Interrupted, you understand, you'll see. Like growing up, I was confused, my mama kissing a girl. I didn't talk about a lot of things in my music because my mom deals with what she deals with.
Privacy.
And respect.
Yeah.
But being disobedient at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the album is coming out August, definitely in August. We are 80% done with the album. We're just proning and waiting for verses from New York's finest. I forgot how New York rappers do. Send them the beat 2 months prior.
2 years later.
2 years later. Yo, I got that verse for you. And we in post-production, B. Can't do nothing with it. See you next album. You know what I'm saying? But I'm excited about this album. I'm excited about this album because you guys are going to get a chance to meet KAREEM. You guys are going to get a chance to see the power of God revealed, like fully through. And like a lot of people, we hear sermons and you hear, I'm about to throw you a big word, the pontification of the exegetical word. You hear preachers preach, that's basically. You hear preachers, you know what I'm saying? You hear preachers preach eloquently, and they have these catchphrases, or they do these different things, and it sounds very right, very
Christian
good,
Christian,
and it's tinkling brass, and you know what I mean. It's great, but you don't see. No, not even the fruit. You don't see the walk. So this album is a journey for you guys. Like I want y'all to really see, and everything is intentional, from the production to the features to how I rolled out, how I'm releasing music.
Right.
Some people may say it's crazy, like, yo, you just throwing out tracks, bro. Nah, bro, you gotta understand. I was interrupted. Now I love me some me. Now I gotta tell you the definition of who I am. And now I'm gonna tell you what's the facts. And we'll drop another single, and then we drop the album, because I'm giving y'all too much, actually. But the album's coming out in August. Definitely in August. Marcus is here still?
Yeah, Marcus in the cut.
Okay.
In the shadows.
I'm about to start talking to Marcus because I want to work on something. I'm going to say it on camera so he can't deny me. So me and Marcus is going to have a conversation. And we're going to have something to you. I don't know when, but we're going to have something to you.
Okay.
Because, KTE, that's family.
Right.
My first manager in hip-hop was Marcus.
Okay.
I was hard-headed and heartless. That's why he had to step off this. Again, full circle, I come back to Marcus like, brother, I need your help.
Again, when you're free,
facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And when you mature,
you can say these things.
You come humble to your brother and say, listen,
for real, you can tell the truth. You know?
Give me I've sinned, give me my ring and roll.
Yeah.
The prophet has returned.
Oh man. For anybody that's in here who's never weren't around for the introduction of Malakai or the introduction of Gage, I feel like you guys are especially privileged because I feel like you're meeting them at a really good time. You know? I do want to say one thing in closing, and I'm going to leave it out for maybe a couple of questions, really just a couple, I think, over time. But I want to say that, when you guys doing music and speaking on the things that you're speaking about, and even just reflecting on stuff that I've been working on, you both in a way mentioned the whole idea of acceptance, and I know that me as an artist, I'll probably delve more into it when we do Revive in May. For me, at my church, again, I always refer to it, being at the Rock. One thing that Pastor Straker talks a lot about is just knowing you and knowing your identity. Right. And I feel like a lot of times, you have to know what God gave you. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I know what God's given me as Jason Andre Roberts. I know it. I've always known it. And before meeting Marcus and the introduction of King Choice Awards and Higher Calling, I knew it. Like when I made music, even though everything wasn't necessarily perfect in my walk, I had this hunger for God to just show it through my music, and it's all that really mattered. When other things started adding to it, it just became more about that. I mean, it made, for me, it wasn't really about, being the hottest rapper, because, that's preference. That's like, opinions change. It was really about like, I want to be accepted. I feel accepted, or rather, if Marcus puts me on that stage, I feel like, man, I'm part of this big thing of ours. I feel accepted. Like, wow, he really values me. Or if I do Rap Fest, and I'm valued here. You know what I'm saying? When God has already valued you and validated you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And those are things that over the years for me has become much, much more important. It's even down to the way I post. Like, I've never post fake, but at this point it's like, if you post something and you're really moving and operating in the will of God, and you're sharing your heart on social media or in person, it shouldn't matter how much likes or if it goes viral, because it's like you're sharing it from an authentic place. Mm-hmm. So with that said, my encouragement to both of you is to just keep being authentic, no matter what. No matter what the music looks like, no matter if it's commercially, whatever it is, because God puts you in that place for something. I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. I can't do what Rich does. We are all operating in the way that God's purpose is to do. And since He's our King, we follow what He commands us to do, even musically. So, I just felt like saying that. Just gave that to me.
It's big. It's big. I mean, as far as
just to piggyback on that, like you said, you wanted to be on one particular stage and another. I've been on stages and I wanted to be on the next stage. Remember what I said, variety never satisfies, it only fuels the desire. So the bottom line is, you know, I've been on plenty of Marcus's stage, but that has nothing to do with our friendship, and I think that's the most important part.
Amen.
And him being my brother in Christ is more valuable to me than any stage he ever put me on.
100.
Any thoughts on that?
100. It's 100. Listen, I just want to say this, and this is the main thing I really wanted to say.
Okay.
As a kid who grew up as a what's up, bro? As a kid who grew up as an only child, looking for an acceptance. When I don't even know what Marcus is, but I don't want. He over here.
You over there?
Alright.
In the shower, sir.
And this ain't even because he here. I was just gonna say this even if he wasn't here. So you know what I mean. Some of y'all may be thinking that he's just saying that so he can get that project done. that ain't why I'm saying this, bro.
Real it is.
Nah, for real. Nah, for real. I'm gonna say this. He gave a 17-year-old dude a shot who had one song on MySpace from a time when he seen him and his two best friends in Brooklyn. That was on High Calling first, like the first High Calling.
Yeah.
And I had some fake manager who was like, yo, only thing we ask is that you put them on the cover, on the flyer. So we did some fake old photo shoot, and he put me on the flyer. Dolphin was on the flyer, Q the Prophet was on the flyer, I think Red was on the flyer, and this little light-skinned dude with a yellow hoodie on that nobody knew was on the flyer, B. I had my whole squad come from Harlem. We took that 3 train, that 8 train, all the way down to Nostrand and walked. Yo, and I'm grateful for a community that I knew nothing about accepted me and accepted my gifting. And sitting here when you began, you were talking about Malakai brings worship into Christian to hip hop and does all these different things. I never seen myself from that perspective. So to hear you and others speak of what I bring to this genre or bring to our collective or to our fraternity, for a better way of saying it, is amazing. Because all I've ever wanted to do was just to fit in. Yeah. That's all I've ever wanted to do was fit in. And the fact that I not only fit in, but excel and have young dudes like New Vision was looking up to me. Thy Way, all these different dudes come and reach, like, you know what I'm saying? Different people like, yo, Mally, yo, that one band, yo, that was my joint. Word? I had mad different colors on in that video. I was looking crazy. It was cold too.
Y'all on the roof.
Shout out to Marcus for shooting that video too. Shout out to
Marcus. Yo, I think we only have time for probably 2 questions. Anybody got one? Danny, you got one?
Yeah, I do. Quick comment, same question. You guys blew my mind. I came in this place expecting, cause I don't hear rap. I love rap. I don't hear Christian rap, not because I don't want to, but because I'm too busy listening to like Christian rock, and that's my genre. This is you know, Conquest now. But I guess what I want to say is, as soon as you guys started speaking, God started moving, and God started healing. And I want to say, the beginning when I said that there were Goliaths in my relationship, and I still think that, you know, they roam around, you know, but they are so much smaller now because of you guys.
Man,
like, you have no idea. Like, the only thing I really needed to hear tonight was the fact that I wasn't alone in the struggle.
That's it. Oh man.
That's all I needed to hear. That in itself.
That's it.
I need you to understand that no matter how, man, God is good. The popularity does not matter. You guys are here for a purpose. God is going to use you in such a powerful way. I don't even think y'all know how powerful it is. God is going to use you. God is using you. God used you and me. Yo, like, I'm not saying no more. Like, you guys are incredible. Like,
that's enough we need to hear.
God is good, man.
Amen. God is good. Charisse.
Okay. Once again, I'm out of my comfort
Hang on,
zone.
let me pass you the mic. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, we gotta pick you up. We gotta pick you up.
Okay. Once again, I'm out of my comfort zone, but I'm gonna kind of piggyback on both you guys, mainly from what you said about. I just feel like God brought me here for a reason, especially when you guys both started talking about different things going on in your life. For me, how you said you've been sitting there for two years. Okay, for me, it's last year dealing with something, not what you're dealing with, but still something major for me. And where it's like God transformed me totally, because last year I'm not the same person who would be sitting here holding a mic. I'm what Pastor Stryker would say, the fruit you produce and the people that you hang around.
Yeah.
I'm floored that I'm floored I'm even sitting here right now. And I know it was God that put me right here and has me here right here. I'm floored because everything you guys were saying, I knew it was God. And I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are speaking right to me. And I'm just sitting here like, is this a sermon? I mean, is this a sermon? And I'm sitting here and I'm looking around. I keep looking at her. She's looking at me like, why is she looking at me? And I'm just like, are they talking to me? Like, I'm just like, are you guys all, I mean, even with your comments and the way you're talking to them, I mean, I'm just like, I'm feeling the Holy Spirit all in here. I'm warm. I'm really warm right now. I'm serious. It's still hitting me because I'm just like, and I'm telling you, like, there's something that's going on here, and you're gonna see me a whole lot of me. And what makes it even better is that I don't have a TV. Okay, I don't listen to music. Okay. I do listen to music. I listen to Christian music, but it's just the fact that I have no idea who you two are. I didn't have no idea who you two.
Amen.
No, I didn't know who you guys were.
Amen.
Okay, so, but I love both of you. Just hearing this, I love both of you. Okay, and I am inspired. I am greatly inspired.
Amen.
Right now. God bless you both. Thank you.
Can I have something, bro?
Okay, please.
Is it cool?
I
asked it like we were going around.
You got a list, yo. You good? All right.
Apologies.
No doubt. For you, my brother, what prevented you from committing suicide?
I mean, I would honestly say what prevented me is just that I grew up in a home, 8 brothers, 3 sisters, and I really, and this is not cliche, I really didn't feel that God was going to let me do it.
Yeah.
I really, every time I thought it, the thought came in my mind, like, don't even think about it, because you know it ain't going to work. Malakai tried it. So I don't like pain, so I felt to myself, I'm going to be real. If you're not going to let me get through with this, then tell me now. And he's like, don't even try.
Wow.
So meaning you either gonna be mangled and still alive, you just it don't make no sense for you to try.
Wish I
And
had that prayer.
Because I really just didn't believe he was gonna let me do it. That's why.
No doubt. Yeah, because I thought about committing suicide just in March, so
We got to talk.
I wanted to check out, bro.
We got to talk even
So that's why
you know what I mean?
I had to ask that question. I know the time is well spent.
Nah, but that's a good question to ask.
I mean, I had to ask him that because I just was there. So.
And also, we just realized that it's not going to fix the problem, bro. You're talking about a permanent solution for a simple problem that God can fix.
Wow.
It's not going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Permanent solution to a temporary problem.
That's right.
Yeah, no doubt.
God can fix it easy because he can fix any problem.
Amen, bro.
You just got to give it to him. So that we go to him for that, for sure.
Say less, yo. All right, Slum. Here you go.
Make some noise for Noah the Governor, ladies and gentlemen. Noah, for the record, I'm glad you're still here too. That would have been really a sucky way to hear that, to say the least. Gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you both for sharing your hearts. Everything that everybody said was exactly the intention. of why we do this, why I created this forum, and I pray that this continues and God continues to use you both mightily. And I'm proud to call you both friends.
Amen.
And believers. And I mean, thank y'all, man, for being here. You know, give it up for Malakai, the Truth Engaged.
Supposed to stand too
long. I think I'm too tall to stand. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Next Conversation series, the first one for the new season. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for being a part. The next one, I'll let y'all know once I know who's going to be in the next one. Also, we got things going on. Make sure you exchange numbers, cards. There's a lot of people in the building that you want to know. We only got fellowship for a little time because I know Rich is trying to get us out of here. But real though, God bless you. Thank you. And make some noise for DJ MIGS. And make some noise for State of Mind TV. Thank you to my open micers. We are done.